Fantastic. All right. We are good. Napoleon. All right. Shay is doing great. Zara, hello, back to you. Napoleon, we're good. That's awesome. It's good to have you guys here. To be honest, I want more energy, more hard work. Let's get it started. All right. Great, great. So one word. How are you guys doing today? I've seen great. I've seen fine. So people are saying very fine. Glory, you're doing very fine. Thank you. That's great. It's good to have you guys on board. Let's keep it coming. Okay. We're going to be starting the session we're starting the session. Okay. We like to keep to time. And we'll still be expecting more people to join us. Okay. So bear in mind that when you see the numbers skyrocket to like 500 people, that's exactly what we're expecting. Okay. And better still, if you want to share with your friends, your family, please get them on board to register to attend the session because you are going to learn a lot today. Okay. All right, somebody's tired, Priye. Don't worry, we're just going to take 2 hours of your time maximum. And I'll tell you for free that these 2 hours will be like, it will be worth the 2 hours. It's a free session. Well, what you're going to get from it, from this session today, it's going to be worthless. Okay. It's going to be worth your while, okay. All right, so let's get it started. Okay. I would like to know where you guys are joining from. Okay. I'm currently based in Canada. Okay. Adeza is joining from the UK. All right. So I want to know where you guys are joining from. All right. So someone in the US, Shagi from the US, Zidane from Nigeria, Wale from the UK. So let's see. Let's keep it coming. Someone from Lagos. All right. Olayinka from Lagos, Abuja, Nigeria. Kindly increase your volume, Nathaniel. I think you will be the one. Adela, can you confirm if my voice is loud enough?
Yeah, you're very clear. We can hear you clearly.
Very clear. Okay, yes. So, Nathaniel, you might need to be the one to increase your volume. Okay. All right. So, we have some people from Nigeria, Nigeria, Canada, Port Harcourt. That's in Nigeria, Canada, Abuja, Nigeria. So we have a mixture of people from across the world, and that's basically the benefits of you and attending this kinds of session. Okay, where you're going to be listening to people from gaining experiences from people across the world. All right. We have other two professionals I would like to bring in. Okay. We have Unzube, Dr. Unzube. Okay. Let me just confirm if they are on the call already. Okay, Dr. Unzube. Okay. Okay, I can't see Dr. Unzube just yet. Unzube.
I'm
Okay,
here.
okay, yes. Oh, okay, yes. Okay, I was looking for your video. You could turn on your video so I could
Okay.
spotlight you and get everyone to see you. Right. Fantastic. Okay, so I'm also going to be bringing up Uzoma. Uzoma, if you want to turn on your video so I can spotlight you so that everyone can see your beautiful faces and we'll bring it to
Hello. Hi everyone.
fantastic, fantabulous. Okay, fantastic. It's good to have you guys on board today. And so essentially what we're going to be doing today, yeah, is to talk about transitioning into the tech space. All right. Over the course of people's career, a lot of people have been trying to see how they can get into the tech space, either become a data analyst, either become a business analyst, or any kind of tech professional, really, cybersecurity, data sciences, whatever the case may be. You see, transitioning, a lot of people put so much thought into it. There's something we call analysis paralysis, where they overanalyze this transitioning phase and they spend so much time over analyzing. And finally they don't even get to transition, or they don't even try to take that necessary step. And that's the reason why we're having these conversations today, sort of to provide a solid background for them to ride on, okay, and also share your own personal experience. So when they see, Nigerians or Africans also being in the space and they've been able to transition, that will give them this momentum also to get started. So essentially, that's what we're doing today, and we're going to be talking about how I became a global, or how you guys became a global tech talent without a computer science related degree. All right, and even if you did, and we'll talk about that as we go on. Okay. So, just for introductions, okay, I'm going to start off with Adeza, okay? So, Adeza, if you want to introduce yourself, I'll go next and I'll bring in our wonderful speakers for today.
All right, fantastic. Thanks for that, Ife. And good evening, everybody. Good to have you on board today. My name is Adaiza Suleiman. I'm a data analytics expert, and I'm also the founder of 10Analytics. I've had close to a decade years of experience within the data ecosystem. I've also worked as a management consultant, and that was how I started my career. Over the years, the focus for me has been on helping organizations to make sense of the data that they have, to take decisions, to drive the businesses forward, to achieve their growth objectives, and so on and so forth. And I've worked across 5 sectors, helping organizations from the financial services sector, energy, automobile, educational technology, and so on and so forth. And over the last 3 to 4 years, the goal shifted from corporates to individuals. All right. I had achieved so much within the tech ecosystem, and this was time to start to give back, to bring in more people that look like me, people of the Black community, to get into tech. And that was how 10Analytics came to be. And over the last 3 to 4 years, we've been able to help over 2,000 people transition from the classroom into getting their first jobs in the tech ecosystem. And I would say we're just getting started, and we have so much more to achieve going forward in subsequent years. And that's just a brief about myself. Over to you, Efe. You're muted.
All right, fantastic. Well, thanks a lot for that, Adaiza. And for myself, my name is Ifemena Ipro. Okay, I am the co-founder of 10Analytics. I'm also a data professional. I've worked across different roles within the data ecosystem. So I've worked as a data analyst, data scientist, BI analyst, data engineer, business systems analyst. I've held several roles within the data ecosystem. And I have close to a decade experience working across different organizations, different industries, from medical technology to FMCG to banking, financial technology, and so on and so forth. All right. And currently, what I do is, aside being a co-founder of 10Analytics, is being a data science contractor. So working in the UK, I work as a contractor. Moving down to Canada, I also work as a contractor. And essentially, what I'm doing is working with businesses and working with businesses to deploy data analytics initiative, not just data analytics, also data science initiative, automating certain data analytics processes. And that's what I do as a professional at this point in time. Okay. So anyways, let's go to the main people that we're going to be having conversations with today. All right. So I'm going to be starting with Dr. Nzube. Okay. So I'm going to be starting with you, Doctor. Okay, so let's get to meet you. Just a brief introduction about yourself, what you do, and we'll take it from there.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you for inviting me into this space in order to share my story and also to meet, make connection and meet other data analysts here. Thank you. And welcome everyone. My name is Nzube Eboluche. Currently, I'm a data analyst. My background stemmed from soil science and broadened into environmental science, but currently I moved into data analytics, and I've been in this space. And currently I work with the Maryland Department of Health as a data analyst, and just learning about data, even though my background didn't stem from data. That's how I got into that position. And I've been in this position. I could tell you I enjoy it. And I'm glad to learn from everyone here and also to share my story. Thank you.
Oh, fantabulous. Thank you a lot. Thanks a lot for that wonderful introduction. Uzoma, do you want to go next? Just a brief introduction about yourself, what you do.
Oh yes, perfect. So hi guys, my name is Uzoma. So currently I work as an IT business analyst in the program delivery branch for the Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada. That's IRCC. Prior to then, I have worked in different spheres of life, financial services, FMCG. Think of it. I think I really, touched on a lot of industries. And yes, I have a background as, in physics. I graduated from University of Benin with industrial physics. Then eventually went on to do my MBA. And so there's nothing related to tech in my entire background, but here we are.
There we are. Fantastic. I think that's a very good one you said, yeah. You see, one of the major question that we have, tried answering every single time we have this kind of session is, do I need a computer science degree to get started? Now, before we even get into that aspect, yeah, everybody that works in tech now has a story around how they were able to transition into the tech space, how they got started. All right. Like we all are on call, which I did industrial chemistry, I did economics, Uzoma did physics, and Unzube did environmental sciences. So you see, these are very, very far from from the tech space itself. Now, the key thing is, we want to tell a story on how you were able to get into the space itself. How did you find yourself, working as an IT analyst? And Uzube, also, I'm going to come to you. And how did you get started in the data analytics while you're working? So let's use that as a base, okay, to tell people, regardless of whatever you studied, all right, it's different from what you can actually do as a tech professional. So Uzoma, how did you get started? Okay, what nudged you?
To be honest, I realized I was going to be coming to Canada, and I asked myself, so what are you going to be bringing to the table? Like, how do you, because I was doing a lot of things that were a bit tech related, but not like core tech, you know, but coming into Canada, I had questions, how are you going to be relevant in the market? How do you want to ensure that you don't just come here? Everyone says, oh, you have to come and then you have to start with survival jobs. I wasn't about that life, to be honest. I just asked myself, what do you want to do when you come in here from day one, from go live? Once you land into Canada, what is that one thing you want to do? And I told myself business analysis. And to be honest, 2 months into getting into the country, I got a job. So for me, I had a lot of things I had to do pre coming into the country. So, like, actually learning what is this thing I want to do. I knew I wanted to do business analysis. Guess what? The first time I ever had, and I mean, I have never said this thing to anybody in tech analytics, but the first time I ever really wanted to start thinking about tech, Adeza was the person who was in the room teaching Power BI at the time, you know, and in my head, I'm like, yeah, so in my head, I was like, is it data analytics I want to do? I love numbers. I mean, I did physics, right? So I really love numbers. And then I was like, nah, this is not what I want to do. I want to do business analysis. And then I went into researching what business analysis was. And I realized that in all the roles I had done, up to the time when I knew I was going to be moving to Canada, I had done business analysis related stuff. So I had written business cases, I had, recommended solutions to the business. Like, I had done a lot of things, and I realized that my role was never called business analyst. And I'm like, no, don't even get it twisted. You know this thing. So don't, I just told myself, I'm just going to get what are the transferable skills I have here? What are the things that I'm currently doing today that I can move into this role that I want to see myself doing in the future when I get into the country of my choice, right? And I just realized that, see, I didn't need to do any serious I wouldn't say training, but more like any serious thoughts. Like, all I just needed to do is to think through every single thing I'd done. I'd worked on product at the time, every single thing I've done, and then told myself that yes, you can actually do this because you have done this in the past. So that for me was what motivated me to keep going. So I think I'm just going to stop here so that Nzube
No, no,
can
no. It's fantastic. No, no. Do you know what one key thing that you said? Yeah, is absolutely remarkable what you said, and these are the things that we try to see here. These are the things that we're trying to educate people on. All right, a lot of people are relocating and we don't have any plan, like zero plans. All right, and when they get into the country, it's usually whatever they hear from whoever they meet first that they take as they take it hook, line, and sinker. All right. And that's what really shapes their career path, shapes their lives, and so on and so forth. And these are the key things that you've said. Now, there's one very, very, very huge misconception before I come to Uzube, okay? It's Canada experience. You need Canadian work experience to get a job.
No. Now, let me tell you something, right? So, people would say, and I want to be as frank as possible here. I mean, I decided I'm going to, make this a tell it all session, right? When you come in, a lot of people will tell you, put that you have Canadian experience. But to be very honest, the job I got, I only had my Nigerian experience on my resume. I didn't have anything that spoke to Canada. The only thing that I had there was my name, my phone number. I just put I was in Toronto and that was it, right? And I got a call. In fact, I got a call. I had the interview, and the guy was like, the interview was supposed to be for 30 minutes. It went on for 75 minutes. And then I had told them what I wanted to get the first time, and then the guy asked me again, and I told myself it has to be 6 figures or nothing. You cannot drain me this much and then not pay me 6 figures. I'm not having it, you know. And then, I told him afterwards. I had the interview, like this last interview, and 2 hours later they said, "Oh, congratulations, you got the job." They gave me exactly what I asked for, and I was like, I should have asked for more. So, like, you. you you get to a point where you need to take out naysayers from your corner and tell yourself you want to push forth. When I first came, people were like, "Oh no, you have to, you have." I mean, there were a lot of things I was told. The only main thing that I got me the job, to be very honest, was that I was scrolling through the streets of LinkedIn and I saw a video that says, "Oh, stop applying for jobs on LinkedIn the way you do. Don't just go to the job section, just go type hiring and then put the role." And I did that day. I put hiring and business analyst. I saw someone post, "Oh, are you a business analyst? You want to work for Immigration, Refugee and Citizenship Canada? Please send an email to this email address." I did that. I got the call. I got the job. And here we are. And I'm like, really, you just have to believe that anything is like the truth. What I've come to realize is that once you believe that there is an obstruction, that there's something that stands between yourself and that thing that you want, it will be there. But if you believe that nothing is stopping you from getting what you want, trust me, you will definitely get it. I got over, like, in the space of like 3 months, everyone asked me what kind of resume I had. I was getting interviews back to back. By the time I was starting my job, I had like 2 or 3 interviews lined up. I was just saying, you know what, I'm not doing, I've gotten the job I want. I want to first of all rest before I move on. So I just want everyone to know that there is nothing is stopping you from what you want. Say no to naysayers, only believe in the positive things. That's what I would say for myself, and it worked 100%.
Zoma, I think you've done a fantastic job. What we've been doing the last 3 years, okay, trying to educate people. Literally, we're not like this is the first time I'm going to be speaking. And it feels as if you've been attending all our masterclass to tell people that these are the things you need to know in order for you to get started. All right. So thanks a lot for that. I think that's absolutely brilliant. So let me move over to Doctor in the house. Okay. So Doctor from Environmental Sciences to becoming a core data professional. All right. I really want to hear your own transition story. Okay. I know it's going to be an interesting one. Well, like just, go ahead, please.
Awesome, thank you. I mean, Uzoma, I want to point out one thing you said. Maybe someone didn't pick it, but you gave out a tip that if you are looking for a job on LinkedIn, there is a strategy. You just said, type in hiring and the role. Actually, I just learned it today, so thank you. Thank you for that. Just for other people. So actually my story is quite an interesting one, different routes. So I did my soil science degree, my bachelor's degree in the University of Nigeria in Nsukka for my bachelor's. And before I came to the US for a master's program on a scholarship. So all my mind, actually what I wanted to do, I wanted to become a professor. I wanted to do, come in, do my graduate school, go back home, become a professor. But when I came to the US, I started loving living in the US, right? So I just told my parents I'm not coming back. So that I want to do my PhD, that before you become a professor in the US, you have to be a PhD holder. So I went into a PhD, with graduate assistantship, everything paid for. So my parents, they weren't worried because everything was paid for, So I did my PhD. But one thing is, while I was doing my PhD, then the question kicks in after that, what next? Right? You need to understand what would you do? What is the job space? How frequent is that job? And what is the demography? Like, is it highly competitive? Is it a job? Like, there are so many questions that you need to ask, right? So when that time came, while in my doctoral program, I was, really reflecting on what to do. And my research, when I started thinking, maybe I need to go into data, right? So I decided that my doctoral research, I want to do a research that I can do analysis. So I can leverage on that particular skill, right? Because sometimes when you are doing a graduate program, master's, PhD, most times it's not about the course. Everything there is all about the training, the tiny training you are getting. You have to leverage on those. You mustn't be, for example, I did environmental science for my doctoral program. I mustn't go out there looking for environmental scientist position, right? So what you should be looking, is the leverage on the training that you got. And that was what I did. So I did analysis during my doctoral program, in terms of bioinformatics. So what I did was, okay, maybe this is what I have to do. Because even my doctoral program, I had to spend hours. I can go to my computer room. I will stay there from morning till 11 p.m. Why? Because you might be analyzing your data, you are getting errors, and you are Googling how to, bypass this error. So I did all of those. And I decided there and then that I'm going to go into data. Why? Because I've done this, So after my doctoral program, what I did was to get advanced training. When I told somebody, oh, you did your PhD for all those years, you're going to pay another money to get a training. I'm like, that's fine. I mean, I know what I need. Somebody was like, oh, I can do this, learn it on my own, use Coursera, this and that. I mean, I saw those things. I saw them before I decided to do this, right? So I had to pay for a training, and where I can get, training from real-time people actually in the job. So, and that's what I did to advance my data skill. And immediately I did that. 2 months into my training, I just started applying. Like, even in my training, we've not gotten to that stage. But I'm like, what am I doing? Like, I need to start doing something. Let me test the waters and know what is out there. So I just started applying. My training has not finished. I don't even know some certain things. I just started applying, and a month after, like within a month or so, I started my training in October. In December, before the new year, actually, I got a job in data analytics. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, my training is not done. So just as Uzoma said, once you believe that, you can't get past something, or maybe you are not qualified, or maybe, oh my God, they're going to ask me, where am I from? Maybe, who knows, biology, and I'm coming to, once you start believing that, you will see that no matter what happens, that thing will still be a block of preventing you to advance, because we all have potential, right? You have a potential to deviate, to do whatever you decide to do today. So getting into the data space, and that's where I started learning. However, even though you see a job, there will be like automation engineer, this and that's engineer. this and that this is a name. That's my S. I don't know if you guys have, to me, it's just a name. You may get into that job and you see you've never done anything automation. You've never done it. I'm serious, like it's bewildering when I notice that. You've never done anything, maybe writing SQL codes. You've never done that. Whereas, you know, that's the name, right? SQL developer, stuff like that. You are scared, oh my God, I can't develop. I don't know what I'm doing. No, once you believe in yourself, that tiny thing you know, okay, just run with it. That's the way I got into the data space. And even with my resume, my first job, you know, is just, oh, they saw that I have just one thing on one particular SaaS. It's just a software. And I used that SaaS when I was in my master's program. I can't even remember how much. But, you know, even though they asked me in my during my interview, I will still let them know, you know, I use this software to do my analysis. Just basics, right? And when I got onto the job, one whole year, I never used SaaS. And that was the reason I was hired, because of the SaaS. But then a whole year, I have never, I've been using advanced Excel to do whatever I need to do. So, you know, what I'm saying is for, you know, if you're applying or you think you need to be perfect before you go out there, that's not true. You just have to believe that you are perfect, that you are worth that job or that pay, and you go out there. So that's kind of my story going into the data space. And I have been there, I've been enjoying it. Why? Because it's really flexible. You know, most of the job, you can actually get that remote. Some of them you can get hybrid on site. So you have that flexibility. But if I had to venture into my trained background, I don't think you have that remote anywhere. You have to be on site.
I'll be on site in the lab
Maybe you are
somewhere.
there competing with white folks, you know? So it's so it's a thing. I mean,
Yeah.
most of us, as I was saying, I think it's just you telling yourself you got this, you have the potential, you are what you have, you are valuable in that space. Whatever it is you've learned, just take it and run out and go out there and you will see what happens. Thank you.
Fantastic. Uzube, I think so I like the way our conversations are flowing, okay? Uzoma came in, talked about how she was able to transition into the tech space, getting the job as an IT business analyst, coming fresh into Canada. And you know, that birthed the question, another experience. And you know, she went ahead to just, you know, take it out to say that you don't need Canada work experience in order for you to get a job in Canada. All right. Now, on to you, Zube. Also, you said something that was very sacrosanct. You breezed through it, but it's a very major misconception people have. Do I need a master's degree to get a job? All right. You see a lot of people relocated this time around, relocated for their masters, some are relocated for the PhD programs, so on. So thinking that after the program, you know, that means that you would get a job. Hence the reason why a friend of yours or somebody close to you would say that you have a PhD. Why would you go ahead to pay for another training program to learn the things that you probably have learned during your master's and your what do you call it, your PhD? All right. So what do you have to say about that? How is that misconception people have that once you finish your master's or you finish your advanced program, it will give you leverage in the job market? Do you think there's a correlation between that?
I don't think so, because you have to know they're not paying you for your degree. People pay for skill. People pay for how valuable you can be in the market, right? So even though you have a PhD, but then what does it translate to? It doesn't, PhD doesn't translate highest paid job or highest paid money. PhD is a leverage, depending what your background is and depending where the career you want to venture into. Remember, I said I wanted to do my PhD because my first career I wanted to enter was being a professor. And that was the reason I came to I wanted to be a professor. But along my journey, I pivoted. Why? Because I was like, okay, I don't know if this is for me in this country. If I'm going to be in this country, I don't think it's for, maybe if I go home, yes. But I don't know if I'm going to do this in this country because I have looked at it. I'm in the educational system. I've seen what exactly it is. So from there, I started pivoting, right? So, but I wouldn't say that my degree, because I have a PhD, therefore, once I apply, I'll be, no, that's not true. That's not true. What people hire you for is your skill. Most times, even in data analytics, most people don't look at your degree. Do you have a bachelor's? That's all that matters. Some people don't even have a bachelor's. Some people I'm telling you, like you get a job in IT field with a high school diploma. Yeah, you can get a job in IT. All they need to know, do you have experience? Can you actually do one or two practical things they would want you to do? And that's all that matters. If you can prove that you can do that and you have been in that workspace, you got experience, that's all they need because they're paying for your skill, not your degree. The degree, yes, if you are in that space, you got trained, but basically is the skill someone is paying you.
Awesome. Uzube, you've done justice to that. Okay. Thank you. Thanks a lot for that. Really appreciate you. So I'm gonna go back to Uzoma, okay? And honestly speaking, over time, yeah, guys, let me just put it this, let me put it out there. Most of the times when we do this kind of session, we bring in, guys, and we bring in maybe a woman, a lady, two ladies, and people are always like, well, we want more women, we want more women. You see, today, the two ladies we have in the house today, they are worth more than 1,000 men. I won't lie to you because literally I enjoy the conversation because everything that we talk about, that we are leveraging, what we are trying to push out there to tell people that get started in tech. You are relocating to Canada, you're relocating to the US, the UK, learn a skill. Okay, it's not tailoring, it's not hairdressing, it's not that. Learn an actual tech skill, and I'll tell you, you will feed yourself, you feed your family, you feed people around you, and that's how it flows. Okay, and that's the thing that you guys are saying the same thing. Now, just to go back to Uzoma. Okay, Uzoma, in the role of mentorship. Okay, let's talk about mentorship because a lot of people, Uzobe talked about, oh, you can go on Udemy to learn this. You can go on Coursera. You can go on any other e-learning platform to learn it. But what's the role of mentorship? These platforms don't give you mentorship. You can never have one-on-one sessions with the lecturers, with the people that are training you on YouTube, for example. All right. So what would you say is the role of mentorship coaching from an industry expert in getting somebody into the tech space?
How do you even get into the tech space without a mentor? Like, I just want to know, to be honest, because it's so crucial. Now, this is me. I would say that I winged this whole thing. I winged it, like from start to finish. I was just winging it. Like, I first of all did CBAP, my certification, before I even thought of, oh, okay. In fact, I think when I did CBAP was when I realized that I was just Jones in quote and unquote, right? Because I'm like, you have CBAP, fantastic, but what next? You need people who are doing this thing, who are, pretty much on the job to tell you how it works. So, um, I have this former colleague who got to Canada before myself, and he had started his journey on the business analysis part, and he constantly reached out to me. So once he saw I had my CBAP, he just asked, "What's up? What's the next? What is your plan with this CBAP? What's your plan?" And I'm like, I don't have a plan. Please help me because if I continue like this, I'm just going to I'm going to lose it. And then he reached out and was like, "Oh, okay, so I'm going to walk you through what my day to day is." He keeps on telling me, this thing, this thing. You only just need to know how it's being up, how you can apply it when you start your job, right? And he kept reminding me of all the things we had done in the past to say, oh, remember when we did XYZ? This is how it is here. Remember when we did this, when we launched this particular software? It's just that we didn't call it business analysis, but ideally remember we did the testing with the users just to be sure that it was, what the
Okay.
users wanted. And that gave me so much confidence that whenever I got into a room to interview, I'm like, I know, like, you can't bully me. You can't make me feel like I don't know. Because a lot of people, I remember an interviewer, in fact, the person who interviewed me for the job I got said that a lot of people have been lying that they are who they say they are who they are not. I don't know how to explain, but you know what I'm trying to say, right? They're not what they say they are on their resumes. And that's why interviews these days have been really tough, right? But once you know it, once you know what you are doing, you don't have that problem. But how do you know? Do you understand? How do you know what you're doing if you don't have people to, you know, run to? Like, I had interviews where, I looked at the job description. I'm like, how do they even select me for this interview? And I go back to my mentor, that's my previous colleague, and I'm like, help my life, because I don't know how I'm going to succeed, in this interview. And he then breaks it down for me. So how you say, oh, process improvement, and you look at it and it feels to you like it's some big word until someone breaks it down to you and you're like, oh, really? So this is what it is. So for me, it's really huge. And because I winged it, because I didn't have a structure, I just had few people that I knew that I could just, drag from here and there and say, I need your help, mentor me through this. That helped. Imagine if I had a more structured, environment, that I had, constant communication. Maybe I had like to set like maybe book a 2 hours call with my mentor. And to be honest, I always tell people, if you have to, for you to value the time of that person, pay for it. Even if you are paying $25, $50, $100, pay for it. So that when that person is giving whatever knowledge the person is churning into you, you would appreciate it. Because I know someone now who, she reached out to me. She was like, oh, I want you to help me look at my resume. I looked at the resume. I was like, how do you want to get a job with this? you know, and she, and she goes, Uzo, I don't mind. I'm going to pay. How much do I pay you to have like a one-on-one session with you? You know, pay for these things. For me, I don't. In fact, I feel like I owe, those my former colleagues and all that, because they helped me a whole lot. Now, there's something else that I leverage coming into Canada. There is this um newcomers program that they offer you, and you could get mentors from there. A lot of people don't utilize that, but trust me, I used it wholeheartedly. I had a mentor that I was assigned to. The guy was a senior product manager somewhere, and he took his time. Like, we had like time slots where there's a platform where I would go to one on one. And because of people's privacy, like, they don't share their contacts with you, but you guys can have conversations. It's only if they see that you're a serious person, they'll go on LinkedIn and connect with you, and then from there you go on and keep connecting from there. So on that platform, I bombarded him. I was asking him questions. I was sending my resume, please review it. He would say no, tweaked. In less than 3 4 days, he had to connect with me on LinkedIn. He's like, this girl is on my neck. I don't know. Like, she really wants to succeed in this country. You understand? And afterwards, we still talk till today. This is like how long after, because of how I was trying to get the knowledge I could get from him, because I could always go to my colleague, but well, I wasn't even paying for it. So he can decide to answer me when he feels like answering me, or when he doesn't feel like, but I really, 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 was able to, gather experiences from there. Now, um, let me take this up a notch. My husband came, we pretty much do the same thing, business analyst. He came, he has a more, like, he did a training, and then he got like a structured environment where he had one-on-one conversations with
Mentorship. Yeah.
the trainers and all that. And I cannot even lie. He knows so much because of that interaction, right? Like after like his like a month or two after his training, he got a job as a business analyst. And that's because he had that he
Yeah.
had that forum where
Okay.
he could just reach out to the mentors that they had, like, oh hi, please, can I get like 1 or 2 hours of your time to look through maybe this job description that I have applied for and have been called for an interview. And there, and because I'm in business analysis as well, I'll just go and put my ear to go and hear what they're saying. And I'm like, I want to hear everything. And I hear the quality of the conversations that these people are having. I'm like, see, you can't buy this in the market. You know, if anyone has the opportunity to get mentors on their journey towards tech, I would say grab it with your two hands and please add two legs to it. Because to be honest, you can't trade that information for anything, because these are the people who currently are on the job. So, what better experience do you need than what people who are currently doing the job to tell you this is how we're doing it? You say, oh, now I'm going to use this to answer someone's question. I saw the question and person said, no, I think it was a comment. The person said they're scared, the job description scares them. And I'll say this, really, if you take that job description to your mentor, they would like boot out like half of it and tell you, don't worry about these things. These people are just using, jargons to confuse you.
Mm.
But if you're looking at it yourself, you'll be like, oh my goodness, how am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? I've 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 applied for roles that I felt like I was inadequate, right? And if these people had like 1,000 people, I made the cut of like maybe 15 or 20 people they were going to interview, you know. And remember, one very important thing I need to add is that once you have been selected for an interview, it means that there is a value they see in your resume that is
Okay.
good enough for them to bring you into the room. Don't you ever think you are short. Don't you ever think that you are not up to par. Because trust me, anybody that wants to spend their quality time interviewing you feels like you are going to bring value onto, that organization. So, I don't know if I've really answered your question, but
Yeah, you
please,
have. You
mentorship is
have.
everything. I cannot even
You
lie.
All right. I mean, yeah, you've hit the nail on the head, and I just want to write on what you said. Okay, and so essentially, yeah, we have a structured training program here at Analytics that help people transition. All right. So I made a post on Twitter. This was on data engineering. All right, become a data engineer in 3 months plus free internship. I listed the things that they needed to do, and somebody said that somebody went out to say this is a scam. Okay, now how do you learn data engineering in 3 months? Okay. And the simple question asked the person was, how many months do you think it's ideal for someone to learn data engineering? All right. If it's going to probably respond tomorrow, I'm still waiting for his response. There was no response. All right. But these are the things people don't understand. Okay. And I'm just going to write on that based on mentorship, like you mentioned earlier. All right. So a lot of people are used to say that I want to get free resources. I want to go on YouTube. I want to go on Udemy. I want to go on Udacity to learn these things. And they find out that when they start to apply for jobs, first of all, you mentioned it, they don't have a good CV. All right. So right off the bat, they are getting loads of rejection. So when there's somebody comes to tell them that you can actually do this in 3 months, they believe it's a lie. They believe it's a facade, but it's impossible. I mean, I learned this on Udacity, and I've been trying to apply for jobs, and I've not been able to secure one interview. All right. Meanwhile, people, Zubi, I'm going to come back. You said something very good. During the training program, not even completing the 3 months, and they've gotten jobs. All right. So these are the things that I think you've elaborated extensively on, all right, on how mentorship plays in, you transitioning, and even professionals in general. But Zubi, I don't know if you want to add a thing or two to mentorship and share your own personal experience, mentorship, coaching, or you received it. So I want to hear your own perspective. All
Of
right.
course, of course. Thank you, Ozone. Thank you, Ozone, for sharing that. I mean, there are different routes for you to get to where you want to get to. The question is, how fast do you want to get there? Is a real question, right? If you want to get there in 10 years, it's left for you. There is a route that will take you 10 years to get there. If you want to get there in 2 months, I mean, why not? There is a route for you to get there. So you have to answer that question within you and tell yourself, how fast do you want yourself to get there? So for me, when I made that decision, I graduated and I made that decision to go into IT. You know, I already know there are other things out there, Udemy, Coursera, all of those things, but I told myself I need to get a job in 3 months. That was I put a timestamp to it. I want to get a job in 3 months. So when I started my my training, you know, just like 10 Analytics, like you all structured training, just like you guys. So what I did, yeah, I took the training because I love the community where you can ask a question, where you get practical experience and hence some practical problems, you know, where you can have free access to people who are already in the field for them to share their day-to-day experience. You know, because when you go for these interviews, they're not going to ask you what is SQL, like nobody's going to ask you that. They will ask you to tell them scenarios, to tell them problems you have solved, to tell them the things you do on your day-to-day. So you need to have an insight of that. Even though, yeah, my background wasn't in data analytics, but because I was in this training, because I was in that community, it became a second nature for me to describe what my day-to-day is, even though in, you know, on quotes, that's not what I do at the time. But then I could practically tell you what I do on my day-to-day, even though I wasn't yet a data analyst, right? So it's easier for me that way. It's very good to have mentorship because for me, just like you mentioned, people will say, oh yeah, you can go on YouTube. People have done that on YouTube. They'll be getting rejections. Like I do mentorship. I do a coaching class on like study abroad, packaging your application and scholarship applications. I see people, you know, tell me, you know, they can do it. And then there are informations out there on social media, just like you said. Oh, go do it and come back.
That's
But
right.
someone that will take a mentorship program, in 1 month, they will package everything they need to do everything. The next thing they're getting offers. But for you, you are still searching on social media, wasting your data, right? So I think mentorship is very, very critical. Just like Uzoma said, it's good you pay for something to get something. And I must tell you, wealthy people, you spend money to gain money. That's just how life works. And I'm very big on mentorship. Even me coming to the US, getting my scholarship and everything, it was through mentorship. If I didn't have somebody that have gone through that process to tell me, hey, Zubi, this is what all these people, scholarship people are looking for. This is the way I need to structure this. This is the way I need to, you know, I need to answer this question this way. If nobody told me that, I'm not going to get anything. I will still be where I am, you know, looking for social media, looking for, that's just, to me, is a waste of time. You may get there, don't get me wrong, but it's going to take you so many years to actually get there. But with mentorship, I mean, in a month, in a 2 months, 3 months, you are there, like you are there. And I noticed even during my own class, during my own training, I know some people may not take it serious and all of that, but I tell you, once you start your training, take it very, very serious. Give yourself a time period that you're going to get a job and communicate with your mentor. You are not just doing training. Communicate. Text your mentor and say, hey, I want to start applying this. This is what you tell your mentor, this is what you are doing. Am I going the right direction? Am I on the right track? Stuff like that. Then your mentor sees you as very serious person. They will hold your hand and take you to where you want to go to, even though they have thousands of students in that class. That mentor is going to take your hand and actually place you where you need to go, so you can leave his neck or her neck. So it's very, very good. Mentorship, I am 100%, because that has done wonders in my life.
Awesome, awesome. I think, honestly speaking, Adeza, we've been having this session for a while now, but I will tell you for free that the Dr. Zubi, I think you gave us an hint on how people call you. All right, Dr. Zubi and Uzoma, they've done a fantastic job, I would say. I think you guys, please, in the comments, please drop, the clapping emoji, clap hand emoji. All right, because I'm enjoying myself, and I want to believe you guys are enjoying yourself also. So I want to see you drop the clap hand emoji in the chat below. Okay, all right. So Uzoma, you wanted to say something? Sorry, before I interrupted.
I want
Yes.
to say something. I just remembered. There was a mentorship session my husband was in, a day to my final interview for this job that I have. And as usual, it's dropped. And they were telling them about how to, sell themselves when they ask you, tell me about yourself. And excuse me, please. I was like, okay. They gave them like a template, say this, arrange your skill set, answer the questions like this. I'm like, my interview is in 2 days, or I'm gonna steal this. I went on,
Yes.
did mine, started reciting it to myself so that it's second nature. When it was time for my interview, the woman just made a mistake to ask me, tell me about yourself. Oh my goodness. I just went on and on and on and on and on. And after some minutes, I was like, well, if I continue, I mean, we might not have time to finish this interview today. And they were all smiling. I kid you not. I came out of that interview. I went because myself and my husband work remotely. I went to his work home office, and I told him I got the job. Because like, you just did the interview like how many seconds ago? How do you know? I said, see, there's nobody that'll hear this tell me about yourself that will not give me this job. 2 hours later, I got a call. Congratulations, you got the job. I went back to him. I said, I told you. Guess what? If I was not there while I was listening to that conversation that they were explaining to say, this is how you sell yourself when you're telling, maybe I would have gotten this job. And that's the honest truth. Because I thought my tell me about yourself was solid until I heard that. And I'm like, okay, let me try this. And it worked like magic. Like because I was interviewed by two ladies, they kept on grinning until the end of the interview. Like they were just amazed. They said, we see the passion you have in what you do. You're so talented. There's no way. How do you know I'm talented? Just because of how I said it. So it's just, I mean, that's the power of mentorship. Because if I wasn't in that room that day, there is no way that I would have learned that. Right. So for me, it's just really super important that we 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 don't trivialize these things. Sometimes, because we feel like we know the background of, like, let's say, people that are maybe 1x or 2x people away from the people who are the mentors, they feel like, we know the background of this person. And which day did they start tech? This tech, don't we all know it? And then you trivialize the knowledge the person has, or the knowledge the person has amassed over time, right? So it's, I wouldn't, I don't know how to explain it, but I would say this. I know that Adesa might not even know who I am from Adam, right? But if he comes to this data business, please, I want him in my corner. I'm sorry. Everybody can go get another person. But sure, you see him, I want him in my corner because I know how long he has been doing this. I know, and now because I kind of know him, I cannot go on saying, oh, Is this not this Adeza that he was teaching me Power BI which day? All of a sudden, I beg, what does he know? And then I trivialized the knowledge that he has amassed over the time when, in situations where I didn't even know, I didn't, sometimes he might have had projects that has stretched him, to the length and breadth that no other project in this world might. And then that has made him gain so much experience that might just be that experience that you need in, getting the next job that might give you the breakthrough that you really are waiting for. So it's just important I mentioned this because it's really, really important that we don't trivialize these things.
Awesome, awesome,
Thank you.
Uzoma. I think you've done a fantastic job. I'm really enjoying the session, and thanks a lot for also buttressing that again. All right. So, to wrap it up, okay, there's one last thing that I would like to, to last aspect I would like us to cover, and that is the aspect of misconception. Okay. So there are quite a number of misconceptions people face transitioning into the tech space. Some people say, oh, you need certification. Some people would say, oh, am I old enough? Am I too old? All right. Some people would say, I need an advanced degree. Some people, people come up with different major misconceptions that has really hindered them from transitioning into the tech space. So, Uzoma had spoken about Canada experience. Okay. Some people in the UK will say they need UK experience, or regardless of the region where you are, they would say you need to have worked in that region in order for you to get a job. Now, Uzoma, I'm going to just, I want you to buttress a little bit more on your certification. So you had mentioned that you did a certification CBAP, okay? CBAP is Certified Business Analyst Professional, correct? Okay, you have CBAP, and what role does CBAP play in getting you your job, first of all? And do you think a new beginner should these certifications in order for them to get their job?
To be honest, I'm not going to say that CBAP did not help, right? Or in being fair, all you really need to know is the job, to be honest. Like, that's the most important thing. Any Tom, Dick, and Harry can go get a CBAP somewhere. Now I know people who write CBAP and PMP for people. Like, it doesn't mean you know it. And the truth is, it's an open secret. Recruiters know these things. You have 1 billion certifications on your resume. So what? If you get into the interview, when they ask you questions, can you even answer? Do you understand? Like, I would not say that, there is no place for certification, but because I have a couple, so it will not be fair to say there's none. But it's important to state here that your skills is the first things first. Like, if you're in data, if you have a portfolio, for instance, that has all the projects that you've worked on and all that, you can show it. You're right. In your resume, you have a link to your portfolio. Everyone could go, click on it and see everything you've done. There is nobody that would see all those projects and say, well, before we give you this job, give me I don't know what certifications you guys have in data analytics these days. Before I could have said we guys, but now I'm a business analyst. So I'm sorry, you guys. I don't know the certifications that you guys have in data analysis these days, but you say most people would not ask that, right? Now, if you're going for a platform specific role, so I would say this, like maybe AWS, Salesforce, maybe you need, in fact, even with those, you don't still need those certifications. And I say that because everyone wants to know if you know the job. Like, do you know the core of the whole, the whole thing? So I'm sorry, these chats are this distracting me. So it's important that you first of all gone for, trying to understand what the job is about. What skills can I get? If you need to learn tools, for instance, learn the tools that you need to get the job done, learn how to use the tools, know how the tools even, because it's one thing to learn tools and it's another thing to know the job, right? Because you can learn the tools and not even know how to do the job. So you understand why you're using the tools to get the job done, and then the results you're going to be getting afterwards. Okay. Once you are done, you can then use your certification as an icing on the cake for the skills you have. But see, I'm saying, like, for someone like me who got my certification before, I'm telling you that that's not the way to go. Like, I literally got a CBAP. I became a certified Scrum Master, certified product owner. Like, I'll tell you that that's not the way to go. Like, get the skill, and in order to beat your chest to say, quote and unquote again, I study this work, then do the certification, right? That's a way for you to say, like, this is me beating my chest to know I know this thing. Okay. So for instance, let me give an instance for me. Currently, I'm trying to learn Salesforce, because my organization is implementing it in an insane, like, on an insane level. Like, it's not even, I keep on wondering why Salesforce, but I see that that's what everyone is tilting towards, right? So I'm telling myself, okay, so in our next in the next action as a business analyst, I'm going to go learn Salesforce and how my business can use it to derive the value that they want to see. You get. And then I'm trying to learn I think the first one is Salesforce administration, when you actually learn excuse me, please. It's like someone is cooking in my house.
Sorry.
Oh my God, these people after my life at this point. I'm sorry. So, and then I tell myself, okay, I'm gonna learn the Salesforce administration, and then I go on, ensure I have the skill. In fact, I'm able to teach. So one thing is, what I forgot to say this. Once I learn something, I start teaching it. I teach it to other people who want to learn, because that helps me a lot. Like, it helps reinforce the knowledge that I got. So my classmates, when they ask questions, I'm happy to always, people that I'm learning Salesforce with as well, I'm happy to always, chime in to help out, so that I reinforce the knowledge that I have. Once I am satisfied that I know this thing, I then would head on, to excuse me, please, get my certification. And once I'm done, I then say, oh, okay, now there are other clouds that Salesforce has. So Salesforce has, like, Salesforce Sales Cloud, Marketing Cloud, Service Cloud. My company is currently deploying the Service Cloud. I'll go on to learn Service Cloud. Once I'm done amassing the skills, understanding the back end, everything, I'm like, okay, for me to certify myself, the certification is not for HR people. It's not for recruiters. It's for myself. It's for me to just, tick that box that, okay, well, I think I know this right now. I want the body who owns whatever I'm doing to certify me too, that I'm really good at what I'm doing, right? Then I do the certification. Like, that is so I would say this certification should be at to me, or based on my own experience, it should be bottom, and then on top of it should be the skill and the know-how, understanding the job in itself. And afterwards, don't think because you don't have a certification you would not get a role. I love using my husband as an instance, because, like, we almost are like this, but we're doing the same job, right? I have all the certifications in the world, and he is a business analyst. He doesn't have CBAP, and he's good. Like, he's still collecting his money. Nobody asked him, oh, you have CBAP certification. And it's important to say this, right? Most of the jobs you will see out there would say in the job description, CBAP is an added advantage. No one will say CBAP is compulsory. So don't get it twisted. So, in fact, let me tell you guys, like, I noticed this because there was for those first few months I was here, I was sitting on LinkedIn and Indeed, and I was actually trying to examine job descriptions. And I see that some of these recruiters, some of the companies, they don't even know what they are looking for. I saw one that said Babok is. I'm like, Babok is a book. So how is Babok an added advantage? Like, come on, guys. You know, some of these people don't even know. So they just put those things there just to, find a way to sieve people out from actually applying for the jobs. But don't fall for that. If you have the skill and you put it on your resume that you have and you can defend it in front of the interviewer, go for it.
That's good. I love that, Uzoma. I think for certification, you've done justice to that. Okay. Dr. Zubi, okay. What other misconception would you say people have in transitioning? Okay. And how would you, tell people that this does not exist, or based on your own experience? Some people might be age, some people might be certification, like Uzoma has spoken about. Some people might be, I know we talked about master's degree earlier, okay, master's, PhD, another misconception. So what other misconception did you think, or did you have in mind, right, that would have limited you, but eventually, it was a facade?
I think for me, initially I was like, oh my God, okay, what am I gonna say? Because the question is about your story. People want to hear your story. They don't want to hear whatever it is, certification that you have. I mean, even though I have a PhD, the recruiter that, sent in my resume may not have seen that I have a PhD, right? So it's not even, for IT field, you don't really need even, there are people, they don't care about your degree. Nobody really cares, right? Once you have the skills, that's why I highlight on skills. And something I noticed, for me, it didn't prevent me, but I saw some people in my class, in my cohorts, they were afraid of that. So what were they afraid of? Okay, tell me about yourself. What would they say? I'm like, I mean, everyone have a story. That's the way I always see things. Everyone have a story, because interview over here is not about asking you a question. Oh, you did this certification. Tell me about this. Nobody cares about that. They want to know, have you applied any of those skills? Tell us a situation where you applied those skills. So if you have a problem of developing a story, then it will hinder you, because if you are in front of a recruiter and you'll be so nervous, they will ask you a question, you go dumb, you don't know what to say, stuff like that. So I noticed that really prevented some people to actually put themselves out there, even after the training. They find it difficult to put themselves out there because they may attend an interview and the person will ask them a question. They don't know how to tell their story, describe that thing and answer that question. I will give an example. I have, one of my cohorts, she had an interview and I think she's even, whatever she did is more related to IT compared to me that's coming from environmental science. And she was in real estate. I'm like, that's perfect. Everybody, any sphere you are, you deal with data. Use that, your real estate skill or experience, convert that into, apply your data knowledge you have gotten to your real estate experience. Even though you may not have been working with a big scale data, but whatever you do in a small scale is still what you do in a big scale, is still the same thing. You just have to apply your knowledge there. So I was kind of telling her, you can describe yourself. If they ask you a question, where in a place have you encountered troubleshooting with maybe, who knows, one SQL code, So she told me, oh, she doesn't know what to say because she has not done it. I'm like, are you kidding me? Craft a story. Nobody cares. Nobody will investigate. No FBI at that 5 minutes will investigate that statement. So far, you are confident. And just to make a note, most company buy confidence. They need to get yourself in the door. Confidence. You may know stuff, but you're not confident, nobody cares. Okay? So as you are learning, build your confidence. Build your confidence and see yourself as a subject matter in that field. So you don't necessarily have to have 10 years of experience. You can have a confidence of 20 years of experience. But even though your knowledge is somewhere, so far you can extrapolate your knowledge, blow it up to a 10 years of experience, because that's what the training does, the mentorship. The mentorship, your mentors are depositing into you 10 years of their own experience. So you should be able to, use that, draw that from them and build your own confidence. Even though your knowledge is still here, that, that's confidence you have will, blow up that knowledge as if you've been in that space for God knows how long. So I think, to me, that's one thing that prevents people. So just for, new people or someone who is new in the tech space, that's something I think, you need to get over with. Tell yourself, keep telling yourself, record yourself, tell me about yourself, record yourself about any question when you are practicing. See how confident you are. You need to build your confidence, and don't always feel like, oh, maybe if I say it now, oh God, it's not on my resume. Oh my God. No, don't do that. Just tell them. Even the recruiter, they don't know those technical terms. They're just recruiters. They are HRs. They didn't do IT. What they did is human resource. So once you bypass your recruiter, at least you are getting somewhere, right? You are getting to your hiring manager. Then when you get to your hiring manager, once you bypass your recruiter, your confidence will build up. You get to your hiring manager, so far you can give example of one or two things, not everything, because IT is all about whenever you get to a space, you're still gonna learn everything they use in that space. You are still like a learner. You are just applying your prior knowledge, that makes you learn it faster. But if it's about learning, everybody, once you get a new job, you're still gonna learn their platform. It's still learning, right? They're gonna put you on a training, who knows, 1 month, 2 months, you are still taking your salary, but you are, doing training. So you're just gonna relax. But I mean, I think that's one thing I've seen, people preventing people from putting themselves out there because they feel like they don't have the experience, not knowing that going through a training or being mentored by someone with a 20 years and 10 years of experience, you have already drawn that experience and you can boast that you have a 10 years of experience, even though you just did your 2 months training.
Exactly. Uzome, Dr. Zubi. Dr. Zubi. Okay, that's fantastic. Uzoma, sorry, I see your hand. Just seeing your hand. Go ahead, please.
I
Sorry.
just wanted to mention, how, again, on, like, I would say this for business analysts, not for data, because like data guys, you guys need to learn a lot of tools, right? But as business analysts, you hear people saying, "Oh, you need to know how to use Jira, Confluence, Balsamic." They list all these things. So for me, I learned everything possible, because of course I didn't want to be like what's the word? I didn't want to be a burden, right, to my organization. Just about when I was going to resume, I got a call from my buddy and he was like, "Oh, yeah, so we are putting together an Azure DevOps training and we're going to hold off everything for you to come in and then join the training." I'm like, So all the Jira that I've learned, I'm not going to use Jira at all, at all. Oh my goodness. No, come on. you, you know. So I was like, "Oh, okay." So moving on, I get in. I see that we use Miroboard to draw our process flows. Not Visio. Wow. For documentation, there's something, because it's government of Canada, or like they have their own portal because of the security of documents. They have a very tight security. So we have like our own document management system for. And in my head, I'm like, so why was I bothering my head since? Do you know that, like, they take their time. Once you come in, you get like series of trainings on Azure DevOps, how to create your rules. In fact, they will even give you user story template. So no, this is how to create your user story and acceptance criteria. Wow. But I told you I could do this. So it was more like you were trying to just
Gotcha.
ensure that we understood their own way of working. So you've come from a different place, you've come from a different organization. You're going to be doing different, things differently from the new place you're going to. So usually what they're trying to understand from you is to during interviews is to see, well, if you have the requisite skills, and then if you have the right behavior, like the behavioral skills to to be able to work in the organization that you are being interviewed for. Okay, so when it comes to tools, like people are really chilled in terms of trying to push on tools per se in the BA world, because I told them in the interview that I could use Jira. I get in and they're using ADO. It's totally different, right? They have a totally different interface and all that. So that's something that you should, again, learn skills, not tools. So for a BA, learn the skills, not tools. As a data analyst, don't say that I told you not to go and learn tools, or learn your tools.
Let's go.
Learn your tools, because that's really, really crucial, as a data analyst, so that you don't go there looking like you don't know what you're doing. Again, I have seen people transition from being flight attendants, truck drivers, fashion designers, to being tech heads and earning all the monies that you can think about. So do not think that because you don't have any would I say the um structured what's the word now, like a structured job or whatever, like, if since you didn't do any of that, that you can't get into tech. I'm sorry, that's not true. You can do whatsoever. I say it again, and I'm not trying to be biblical or something. You can literally do whatsoever you put your mind to doing, you know and having this platform, a platform like this, with the amazing, people that you have to lead you on and then teach you the skills. What's your excuse, really? Like, really, what's your excuse? I don't believe in people coming and telling me, like, I'm sorry, this is, sometimes I feel like I'm lucky, sometimes I feel like I was over prepared. Like, I think I was over prepared coming into this country, because I was really too prepared. Like, do you know, like, I had to sometimes, like, when I was trying to learn, remember when I was trying to learn, I put like a firewall between myself and my friends. And I said, I want to first of all learn this. I'll take the firewall out later when I know that I'm good enough for the country I'm going into. So that once I step my foot in, I know that I'm not doing the bare minimum. I have a friend who was like my closest friend for like 2 or 3 years during the period that this was happening. And when I told him that I got this role, he said, for a fact, you truly deserve it. You've earned it. You worked hard for it. Guys, when you want to do stuff, I'm not saying you shouldn't have a social life. I'm not saying you shouldn't party if you want to party. But see, there is time for everything. If you need to give, like, see, imagine that myself and my husband now, we're trying to do this Salesforce thing together. We are literally dedicating the next 6 months of our life to reading, because we know that at the end of this tunnel, there is a bright light that would, amaze us at the end. So people see us now and say, oh, you're doing a BA, your wife is a BA, you a BA, how you guys have plenty money. I said, do you know how far? Do you know what we had to give up to be where we are? That's something people don't always talk about, right? The fact that you want something, you know what you want. Don't let anybody tell you anything else. You're not coming. We don't see you again. No, we don't see you. Don't see me.
We don't see you in church. We don't see
We
you in
don't
the
see.
mosque.
No, see. Don't see me. I don't want you to see me. Give me the next 5 months, give me the next 6 months, and I'll transform my life to a point where you look at me and say, ah, I can't believe it. See, I have so much to say, but I'm just going to, because of the time,
Yeah.
because I just
Thank
feel like people sell themselves short. People don't believe in themselves a lot. People let other people, take from them. See, once you've put in that time and you've gotten that result that your heart so craves for, those people will come back to you and ask you, how did you do it? At the time, you will make reference to the times when you were not talking to them. I say, remember that time that I didn't say XYZ to you? This is what I was doing. Now, this is the result. Do you want to know how? Are you ready to sacrifice those times? Those are the things that you need to do to help yourself. It's your life, remember.
you.
Don't forget that.
Yeah. Uzoma, Dr. Zubi, this has been absolutely fantabulous. Okay, if there's a bigger word than fantabulous, I would have used it. All right, but this is remarkable. This is eye-opening to me. It feels like, honestly, it feels like you guys have been coming to our sessions, even the ones that we have within our team. Okay, within the mentorship, within our training peak program. All right, it feels like you've attended, and literally all the things that we say is the things that you're resounding. Now, these things don't come for free, like you mentioned. All right, it comes from experience, actual real life experience from Dr. Zubi being able to transition. Also about the same thing is that life experience is what is, that's what is making it fresh. That's what's making it very eye opening. Okay, because that's the thing that you've done in order for you to transition. And I would say I'm absolutely happy that we had this session today. And I'm happy that everyone on the call definitely have learned a lot because I learned from you guys. Okay. So thank you very much. And you are already a member of the family. I would say that stamped, okay, sealed and delivered. All right. So thank you very much. I think I'm gonna hand over to you to do the vote of thanks. Then we'll talk about the rest of the training programs. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, Ife. And Dr. Zubi and Uzoma. I think it's been a phenomenal session. And like Femena said, I was just sitting back here listening to the both of you. I was learning and at the same time reminiscing all the things we tell our mentors, every single thing they need to do to make the switch. And I like the way you also spread it across, okay? From the drive, the hard work to getting things done, putting your heads down, to also ensuring that when you learn, you decide to teach other people. I think Uzoma mentioned that, which was very, very, I would say instructive. And Dr. Zubi also, highlighting that the confidence you put in when you go for an interview is absolutely phenomenal. I mean, these are all the things that we tell people. Don't think you don't know how to do it. Don't think you can't. Nobody's going to investigate you, right? Once you have anything on your CV, defend it. You've learned all the skills. You've learned how to use the tools. Use that and tell a story. And there are ways to tell these stories using different techniques. So, I mean, it's been a phenomenal, fantastic session with the both of you. And I want to say a very big thank you for joining us today. We will definitely come back to you because maybe perhaps people are tired of hearing it from myself and Femena. So it's fresher hearing it from people like you. And I think it drives home the point on what people need to do, not to, not to just accept those menial jobs like Uzoma said. Uzoma was not going to do that. So she was well prepared. And I think people need to listen a lot more from the both of you. So we'll definitely come back to you eventually. All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Zubi. Thank you very much, Uzoma, for joining us today. We deeply appreciate your time for sharing your wealth of experience with us. It's been a pleasure and a blessing listening to the both of you today. Thanks a lot.
Awesome. Thank you.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you.
All right. So that's, Dr. Zubi, Uzoma giving us all the nuggets that we need. What I'll do, because I've seen so many more questions coming in asking, how do I join? How do I register? How do I select a specific career path? So what I'll do is I'll walk you through that very quickly within the next 35 to 45 minutes. And then by the end of that, we'll have a good understanding of where to start our journey and how you learning the technical skill and the other additional skills that Dr. Zubi and Uzoma also highlighted. Okay, for example, your CV, how to search for jobs on LinkedIn. There are ways and techniques and strategies to doing these things to get the absolute best results. And I'll be walking you through that in the next 35 to 45 minutes. Okay, so I'll go ahead and share my screen and then I'll drive the session using the slides I have for you today. All right, so first of all, the first thing we'll look at today is identifying where the opportunities are. Okay, Dr. Zubi is a data analyst working with the Maryland Department of Health, while Uzoma is an IT business analyst with the IRCC in Canada. So you ask yourself the question, opportunities in tech, are they just in IT business analysis or data analytics? Tech is very broad. And this is why it's important for you to narrow down your focus on specific areas. And I'll walk you through that very shortly, okay? And one of the ways we do this is leveraging reports that exist within the space. If I want to get into tech today, how do I start? Where do I need to look? Where do I need to look at? How do I narrow down my focus on the major areas that will get me the best possible results? And we use the World Economic Forum because that shows you clearly where the jobs would be in the nearest future and also looking into subsequent years. Now, why the World Economic Forum? The World Economic Forum Future of Jobs report shows you the jobs that would grow in demand. So at the left-hand side, you have the jobs that will grow. And at the right-hand side, you have the jobs that will decline. Okay, so what I've done is to also keep the link for you guys to show you how to download these reports, read the reports. If you want to transition into tech, you're planning to leave, you're planning to move to Canada, to the UK, to the US, you want to go into these countries, getting the best possible opportunities. You want to compete for the best jobs available in those regions, just like Uzoma did. And we've had so many participants also have that same conviction that when I move to Canada or I move to the UK, I want to get a job as a data analyst or as a data scientist. I don't want to work as a cleaner in the hotel. I don't want to work doing specific type of menial jobs and so on. And the very first job that will grow in demand, narrowing down our focus to the jobs that will grow within the next 5 years from 2023 to 2027. The first is AI and machine learning. And of course, you'd see the trends today across different areas. AI, you see generative AI, ChatGPT, large language models, Bard and Gemini, and so on and so forth. So you see that trends today. You'd see the business intelligence analysts. You'd see the information security analyst, your cybersecurity specialist, and so on and so forth. You'd see the data analyst and the data scientist. So you're looking at the jobs that will grow in demand. Dr. Zubi is a data analyst in the US, and she gave us a very clear path into how she was able to get that job. All right, you'd have jobs like the data engineering role, the data engineers, of course, the data architects, you have the project managers. So project managers can also be broken down into different areas. A Scrum Master also falls within this category of project managers. And last but not the least, you have the financial analyst. Okay, so these are roles that if you are looking to transition in 2024, going into the future, you want to look at these specific roles. So what we've done at Tenalytics is to also do analysis across different job boards, from Indeed to CV Library to Total Jobs to ZipRecruiter and so many other job boards to see the jobs that recruiters are hiring for within the tech ecosystem. We took that analysis, combined it with these reports from the World Economic Forum, and we came up with 8 career paths that if you want to get into this career path today, they are easy to learn, they are easy to transition, and you have fantastic salaries across these areas. And apart from that, moving into any of the major economies in Africa, any economy, moving into the US, in Canada, the UK, across Europe, Australia, you have the opportunity to compete for some of the best roles in these regions. So you have the business analysis, which is what Uzoma does. You have the data analytics, being a data analyst, which is what Dr. Zubi currently does. You have the financial analyst, HR analyst, the full stack data scientist, you have the scrum master, you have the data engineer, and you have the cybersecurity analyst. And these roles would pay you absolutely phenomenal salaries. All right. You heard when Uzoma said it was 6 figures or nothing. 6 figures or nothing. Okay. So in the UK, for example, as a business analyst, you're earning over 52,000 pounds per annum. And in Canada, over 74,000 Canadian dollars. This is not 6 figures. Uzoma does 6 figures. And this is where you start to understand that how you sell yourself eventually could open more opportunities along the line for you. And in the US, as a business analyst, it's $5,000. And as a data analyst, 40,000 pounds per annum. In Canada, over 64,000 Canadian dollars on the average. So this is taking the industry average. You can earn a lot more than this. Usually, typically, that's what happens. In the US, as a data analyst, over 72,000 US dollars. Excuse me. As a financial analyst, same fantastic figures, fantastic salaries. Also as a HR analyst. And of course, you start to see the 6 figures when you get into the full stack data science. As a full stack data scientist, for example, you are doing 121,000 per annum in the US. And in Canada, very close to 6 figures on the average at 94,000 Canadian dollars. As a Scrum Master, you're also looking at phenomenal salaries across the major economies. As a data engineer, 6 figures in Canada, 6 figures in the US. And I'll talk about that. The reason why the data engineer would get so much, salary on the average per annum in Canada and also in the US. And even in the UK, you have an average of 65,000 pounds per annum. And as a cybersecurity analyst as well, the importance of this role and the role you get to play within organizations, protecting their data, protecting their network, their systems. In Canada, it's 6 figures, 140,000 Canadian dollars per annum, and in the US, 105,000 US dollars. And these are the 8 career paths that we offer at Tenalytics to help you transition into the tech ecosystem at the shortest time possible. All right, and I'm going to walk you through that, how you can start today. It doesn't matter your background. You are in health, you are in the healthcare sector, you are in education, you've worked in the banking industry. How do you get started? My first degree was in industrial chemistry. Okay, I started my career as a management consultant, but today I've had over 10 years, close to a decade years of experience in data analytics. It's also good when you see somebody like Uzoma come out to speak, share their experience, share their knowledge, and Dr. Zubi, you get to learn from them. But it's also nice for you to see other people who started their journey with us at Tenalytics, and today they've been able to transition and also get into career path, getting jobs in the major economies after joining our training program. And I'll start with the most recent. You have Ini. Ini Apabio was able to get a job as a CEO of a tech company. All right. Ini joined our data science program last year, October 2023. He completed his training this year, January 2024, and he landed the job this same January 2024. So you'd be surprised that how did Ini join the program? How did he get a job as a CEO? Now, I'm going to share what Ini said because he wrote a very long message to us after he got this job. And all he said in that write-up was, he always felt inadequate. He never thought he had the required skills, even though he had over 10 years experience in the tech ecosystem, but he couldn't move to that next level. But when he joined the program, and we started to talk about the CV sessions, how to structure your CV, how to build your confidence going into interviews. The mentorship sessions where myself and Efemena, we come in to show you guys how exactly you need to position yourself, okay? How to tailor your CV to have the new career path you're trying to move into. You want to get a job as a data analyst. You want to ensure that even if you have worked as a banking officer, as a teller in the bank before, you want to showcase that you have done things related to data analytics in your past experience. Just like Uzoma and Dr. Zubi reiterated so many times and emphasized, these recruiters want to see that you have experience. That's the focus for them. So Dr. Ini Akpabio got to realize that I have the skills, I have the requirements. All I need to do is to do all the things analytics have told me to do. And that was all he needed to do. He went for an interview, and because of his confidence, speaking and showcasing his skills, showcasing his experience, he was able to land the job as a CEO. And I'll show you the write-up of Ini Akpabio, fantastic, amazing gentleman, got the job this year, January 2024. We have Efe. Efe joined our business analysis program. She joined us last year as well. She joined us in April. She completed her program in July, and she got a job in October. And this was just about 3 months after completing her training with us. She landed a job as a business analyst. You have Nathaniel, who joined us in July 2023, completed his training in October, and got a job in December 2023, less than 2 months after completing his training. Kende also got a job as an R&D specialist data analyst. R&D specialist data analyst. And the reason why this role has been coined this way is because she got a job with the NHS in the UK. So they needed somebody who had data analytics skills to work with them in the NHS in Southampton, to be more specific. She joined us in April, completed our program in July, and was able to land this job. And it's a sponsored job. The job sponsored her visa. She transitioned from a student visa into a skilled worker visa. And today she can stay back in the UK, work in the UK, and after 5 years, she can apply for something we call an ILR, which is indefinite leave to remain. So these are professionals that joined in October, got a job in January, joined in July, got a job in December, joined in April, got a job in October, all right? And one of the things we always emphasize to people, just like Uzoma mentioned, is you don't wait until you've completed your program. We push you to start to apply to jobs. The moment you are done with the first 1 month or 1.5 months, you have enough to start applying to jobs. Because most of the time, all the skills and all the requirements on that job description, you will not have to do everything when you eventually get on the room. So you want to ensure that you have the skills that will get you into the room. And once you get into the room, every other thing that you need, you're going to build them, from there eventually. So this was a write-up from Ini. It's a lot of words, but I'll just break it down very, very quickly. Like I mentioned, Ini specified that I want to thank Tenalytics for bringing out the ginger in me. This is Ini who got a job as a CEO, okay? He always felt that he couldn't get to that level. He couldn't showcase the stuff he was made of until he joined us, right? And how did we ingrain all these different skills, showcasing your talent, showcasing all the things you need to get any recruiter to look your way and also see the confidence in the skills you have. And some of the things we did was, and this is where he was saying that besides the mentorship sessions every Thursday, that shaped my mind towards success. That's besides the regularly well-organized sessions, the weekly classes. He joined the mentorship sessions. And this is where mentorship becomes very important. My 10 years of experience, Efemena's 10 years of experience, and other industry experts, we take the experience and we put it in you within the space of 2 to 3 months. So all the things we've done You start to learn, you start to see them and start to implement them when you transition into your own career path. Last week, I taught the current cohorts how to tailor your CV using generative AI tool, ChatGPT to be specific. How do you tailor your CV for every job application? So when you're applying to a job, you're not taking one CV and applying to 100 jobs. You are taking one CV, you tailor that CV to the job you're applying to. And that was what we did last week. And that's how valuable the mentorship sessions are. So he's saying that the mentorship sessions were very instructive for him. And he didn't know how to structure himself initially until he joined our sessions. We showed him how to optimize his CV, and eventually he was able to land this job. And he's saying that I couldn't have done it without 10Analytics. I owe 10Analytics big time, and so on and so forth. We're going to send these slides to you so you have the opportunity to read and see all the amazing stuff Ini was able to do after he joined us. And this is Toyin. Toyin works as a benefits analyst with the NHS, full visa sponsorship, getting into the UK. She got into the UK as a student, master's program, completed that, and she was able to land a job before she wrapped up her master's, because she had joined our data analytics program and got a job as a benefits analyst, and it came with full visa sponsorship. You also have somebody like Oluwatosin, who joined our data science program, and Oluwatosin got a job as a fraud analyst in the UK as well. You have Olubemi. Olubemi has a lot in common with Uzoma. When Olubemi was leaving Nigeria, he reached out to us to tell us that, look, Adeza, I'm leaving Nigeria, I'm moving to Canada, and I don't want to do any menial job. I don't want to do work as a Deliveroo rider. I don't want to do Uber. I don't want to work in the hotel as a cleaner. I don't want to do warehouse jobs. I want to get a job as a data analyst. What do I need to do? And we worked with Olubemi. His first job in Canada was as a business data analyst. And he got this job less than 4 months after moving to Canada. I'm correct? Less than 4 months after moving to Canada. And he's currently on his second job as a solutions analyst with one of the largest insurance companies in Canada. And he was able to get these jobs. We worked with him, prepared him for his interview, work with him to show him how to structure his answers. And I'm going to show you guys, some of you were asking, what's the template for introducing yourself? What's the template for answering questions that are competency-based? Dr. Zubi mentioned that when you're asked a question, tell me about a time you have solved the problem using SQL. How do you answer such questions? Because those are competency-based questions, and they carry the highest marks, because those are the questions that will determine your experience using those tools, all right? So I'm going to show you, and I'll talk you through the structure on how to answer those questions. You also have Benga and so many other fantastic people. You have Abigail, who worked as a care worker in Canada. She wanted to become a business analyst because she couldn't do the care work for a very long time. She joined our business analysis program, and the mentorship sessions and the project-based classes made the difference for her. Today, Abigail works with the government of Alberta in Canada as a business analyst. Now, that's not the amazing stuff on Abigail's story. What is even more amazing is that Abigail got the job and currently supervises other people. All right. And that's the importance of learning in a project-based environment where you work on projects, get your hands busy, and do the job so that you know exactly what to do when you get on the role itself. Okay. And there's so many people. I'm not going to bore you with all the different testimonials and go through them one by one, because you receive the slides and you can watch the recordings, listen to the amazing people, the jobs they have gotten, like Patience, who got a job as a data analyst, Biola, who got a job as a financial analyst in the UK, Sunday, who works as a regulatory data analyst in the UK. But I want you to listen to somebody. I want you to listen to Ikmat. We love sharing Ikmat's story because Ikmat was a stay-at-home mom for 2 years. She was out of job for 2 years. and she wanted to get back into the job ecosystem. She came to us, joined our data analytics program, and she was able to get a job with the NHS and also on full visa sponsorship. All right, so I'm going to play Hikmat's video for you very shortly. It's a 3-minute video. Listen to Hikmat, okay? Listen to Hikmat, and then you'd understand how we worked with Hikmat to help her transition as a data analyst. So what I'll do is I'll share my audio very quickly. Click on the link and it takes us to the YouTube video.
Are you a STEM professional and are looking?
Okay, so I'm just going to play the video now. Sit back, relax, enjoy Hikmat's story. And once you receive the slides, ensure that you go through all the other amazing professionals and listen to their transition story. Okay, so I'm going to click on the play button and listen to what Hikmat has to say.
My name is Hikmat, and I was with the March cohort in Tenalytics, and joining Tenalytics has been the best decision so far. You know, for me, someone coming from a background of full housewife, because I had to stay back home to look after my child for 4 years, and then wanting to break into something new, wanting to go back into the workforce, you know, wanting to place myself in the society for better job opportunities. So it was a lot. And then I'm glad that Tenalytics came along, and then they presented me with so many opportunities right in front of me, better opportunities. And then I'm glad I took it. And then also the advice of do not sell yourself short, that Effie is always saying, it is very, very valid, because place yourself right, you know, don't sell yourself short. It's a very, very, very valid advice. You know, in Tenalytics, they will hold your hands like a child, you know, through the modules. You have the opportunity to go back and study. You have the opportunity to go back and practice. You have the opportunity to ask questions. You know, you have people you can always go back to, even outside of class hours. It's the most amazing experience so far, really. And then another thing is the interview prep, guys. That is another very important thing. I did my interview prep with Mr. Mohammed, and it is the best decision ever, because it was like he saw into the future. He knew what was going to be asked. And I'm glad that I wrote down all the things he mentioned. I went back to practice, and then when it was time for the interview, it was like everything he was mentioning, everything he mentioned, it was just, they kept on. And then when I was answering those questions, I was so confident, you know, because I already practiced. I did an Excel test, I did a maths test, and then they were really impressed. And another thing is, guys, it may not come as fast as you expect. Definitely you are going to get some no's, and then you may begin to think you're not good enough. You are good enough, yes. The no's will come, but always take it as a basis for learning and development, because after every interview where I got a no, I always make sure I get a personal feedback. So I work on those feedbacks for my next interviews. And yes, it worked. It really worked for me, because I got my first job 3 months into the program, my first job. But I couldn't take up the job because I was a student and I was only eligible to work 20 hours. So I couldn't take up the job. 3 months later, I got 2 jobs with full visa sponsorship. And guys, all the other no's before the 2 jobs prepared me for the yeses I got. So yes, the no's will come, but do not give up, because you always have Tenalytics to go back to. They are the best and the best thing that's ever happened to me. And then yes, and they are the most affordable. The most affordable one I've come across so far. And that's a very good advantage. So yes, Tenalytics for the win.
All right, so that's Hikmat. We love to share Hikmat's story because it resonates with so many other people trying to transition into the tech ecosystem. And there's so many other people, Chika landing a job as a financial analyst, Akintayo getting a job as a CFO after completing the financial analytics, and so many other people. Like I said, listen to their story, read about their journey and how they were able to transition. Somebody like Olamide, who was out of work since February 2023, he came to us in July 2023. And just by looking at his CV, I could tell where the problem was. Okay, and I think Uzoma mentioned this as well. Somebody sending a CV to her. She looked at the CV and she knew where the problem was. I knew where his problem was. And I told him, Olamide, your problem, you've worked as a business analyst for over 5 years. However, you need to open up yourself for more opportunities, especially within the data space. So I want you to add data analytics skills to your business analysis. That was number one. Number two, you only had so many things listed as responsibilities rather than achievements. So on your CV, you don't want to list things like I provided support on something or I developed documents. No, you want to list achievements. Okay, I used Jira or I used Visio to map out a process which enabled us find out the inefficiencies, and this led to a 30% improvement in downtime. You want to talk about achievements, what you were able to achieve on that role. And these were the things Olamide needed to do. So he joined the business analysis program, added the data analytics component into his skills, and he landed a job as a business data analyst. And this was Olamide sending me a message when he got the job. Hi, Adeza, how are you doing? I got a job as a business data analyst. I want to thank you for the support for these past months. So he was out of work for over 6 months. He came to us, we worked with him, and he landed a job as a business analyst with an energy company in the UK. And there's so many other professionals. Like I said, take out time and listen to all their amazing, amazing stories. What I'll do very quickly is I'll walk you through all the different career paths, talking about each career path, how to get into each career path, and the duration for getting into this career path. All right. And I'll start with the business analyst. Uzoma works as a business analyst. What does a business analyst do? A business analyst is simply a professional who analyzes the organization's processes, their systems, to help them identify improvements and solutions to the different business challenges. So as a business analyst, you'd analyze processes like Uzoma, who works with the IRCC. The IRCC has, anybody who has been on the IRCC's platform, they have so many processes. If you're applying for PR, if you're applying as a student, if you're applying for a student permit, for a work permit, you have so many processes. So how do we look at each process end to end, from the start to the finish? Look for where you have inefficiencies and find solutions to those inefficiencies in order to optimize the process, make it a lot faster, something that will take 3 hours to complete or 5 hours. How do we reduce it to 30 minutes or 5 minutes? And that's the role of the business analyst. You analyze the organization's processes, the organization's systems to find areas of inefficiencies and plug the gaps, block those inefficiencies to optimize the processes. And how long does it take for you to become a business analyst? 4 months. 2 months project-based classes, learning in class, and then 2 months working on a real-world project where you would project manage a web application solution. So you'd be the business analyst working in managing that project where you'd have a web developer working with you, you'd have Scrum Masters working with you, you'd have other key stakeholders working with you. And at the end of the day, the web developer will build a web application to solve a particular problem in that company that you want to help address the issue. Why is this very important? It's important because that experience that you need when you get into the interviewing room, they ask you, tell me about a time you have mapped out a process. Tell me about a time you have solved a problem using Trello or Jira or Confluence. They ask you these questions and you want to tell a story. Remember, I said I'll tell you the framework you need to use when telling a story and also when introducing yourself. I'll tell you that when we get to that particular point. And that's what you need to do as a business analyst to get the skills to know how to do the job on the first day. And you start by learning the data skills. You learn how to use Excel, Power BI, and SQL. SQL is simply structured query language to help you interact with databases. And those databases are where the company would store their data, right? Now, this is not compulsory for a business analyst. It is optional. However, we have incorporated it into the business analysis curriculum because it gives you an added advantage out there when you're competing with other people for the same job. So they see you as somebody who has data skills and who also has the business analyst skills, because the business analyst skills includes process mapping. You map out processes. You heard Uzoma talk about process mapping using Visio, using Miro, and so on. You learn project initiation planning. You're going to manage projects. So you need to know how to initiate projects. You need to know Agile and Scrum for projects. How do you leverage and deploy the Agile methodology to delivering projects? You learn the software development lifecycle, which would show you how to manage projects that requires you to develop and build a software, how the software is planned, how it is designed, how it is developed, tested, and so on and so forth. You'd also learn requirement fundamentals, elicitation, asking the right type of questions to gather the requirements that you need to go ahead and solve a problem that exists in that company, stakeholder analysis and engagement, and of course, ChatGPT for business analysis. So our curriculum is up to date in the sense that you are learning generative AI tool. How do you leverage a tool like ChatGPT to help you optimize your work as a business analyst, all right? So you learn all of this, and within the space of 4 months, you gather all the skills you need to get a job as a business analyst. And if there is nothing you take away from today's session, I want you to take away what Dr. Zubi and Uzoma said in relation to applying to the job, even though you don't meet the requirements. If you don't meet all the requirements, why is that important? It's important because every job advert you see out there is a wish list. It is called a what? Is a wish list of that HR manager, that recruiter that put out the job advert. It's a wish list. I wish to have somebody with all these skills. Most of the time, you're not going to use all. I'll give my own personal experience. When I was applying to a job as a data analyst, they required somebody who knew MongoDB, who knew Python, and so many other fancy tools. I only knew Power BI, Excel, and SQL. That was all. And I went ahead to apply. Long story short, I got the job. While on the job, I never had to use Python for 1 day. I never had to use MongoDB for 1 day on that job. All right. And that goes to validate the resolve that these job applications are wish lists. So even though you don't meet the requirements, go ahead and do what? Apply. All right. The classes for the business analysis, you have Saturday classes and Sunday. So it's flexible, where you don't have to be in a class during the week. If you are a student, if you are a master's student, a PhD student, if you are a 9-to-5er, you have a work at the moment, but you want to transition. So your classes happen Saturdays in the morning, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. If you are in Africa, you are in the UK, you are in Europe, similar time zone. And 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. or 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So if you're in Canada, because most of our participants also come from Canada and the US. So if you're in Canada, you are in the US, we have a time that fits your time zone. So you don't have to be in a class at odd hours. All right. So on Saturdays, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., that's for those in Africa, for those in Europe, and so on and so forth. And you have 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Mountain Standard Time for those in Canada and in the US. And for Sunday, you have 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. for those in Europe, similar time zones, and 12 noon to 3 p.m. Mountain Standard Time for those in Canada or in the US. So you have time zones that fit to your schedule. And of course, you'd learn how to use amazing tools. Like Uzoma said, as a business analyst, you want to tone down on the tools and optimize or maximize the skills. So you learn the skills and learn how to use the tools to implement the skills. You learn Excel, you learn SQL, you learn Power BI, you learn Lucid Charts, Confluence, Jira, Draw.io, Trello, and ChatGPT. Okay, and that's for the business analysis. For data analytics, who is a data analyst? What does Dr. Uzoma do? Day to day, working with the Maryland Department of Health. A data analyst is that professional who collects data, analyzes the data, and extracts insights and information to help a company take informed decisions. So Dr. Uzoma would gather data from the Department of Health. She would process the data by cleaning it up, analyzing the data to help the Department of Health take decisions that are informed based on the data that they have generated. And that's what the data analyst does in a nutshell. Okay, and the data analyst answers two key questions, which is the first one is on descriptive analytics, which is answering the question, what happened? What happened? So every organization wants to know, in 2022, what was our performance? In 2023, what was our performance? Okay, you would answer that question, what happened, using the data that the company has generated. And then you'd also move into diagnostic analytics, which answers the question, why did it happen? So when you know what happened, you want to know why it happened so that if it is positive, you can maximize, optimize it, make it better, and get more positive results. If it is negative, you know what to do in order not to get that negative result again. And these are the two key questions a data analyst would answer in any organization. What happened and why it happened. And as a data analyst, what skills do you need to learn? You need to learn key skills in problem solving. That's where it all starts from. You need to know how to solve problems. That's your role as a data analyst. You learn how to use Excel. You heard what Dr. Uzoma said. Excel is her go-to tool in that organization. Even when she was getting hired, they hired her for a specific, a specific tool, which she never used for, a full 1 year. All right. So it's important that you understand this. Excel is one of the most versatile data analytic tool you'd ever learn. If you're a data analyst without the understanding of Excel, I can't call you a data analyst. Okay, and this is coming from me who have been in the industry for close to a decade. You must understand Excel. It gives you that entry and the background into anything data. Then you learn SQL, structured query language, to interact with databases. Organizations would have their data in a database. You need to interact with that database to extract your data, to connect your Excel to this database, to carry out your analysis, and so on and so forth. You learn Power BI for data visualization and data analytics. You learn Tableau as well for data visualization, data story. You learn data storytelling, which is where you tell a story from the data you have analyzed in a way that somebody who knows nothing about data analytics can take a decision. Because your CEO does not know Excel, does not know Power BI, does not care about your analysis. So how can you tell a story from the analysis you have carried out so that your CEO can take a decision? So you learn that from data storytelling. You learn ChatGPT for analytics, and then you'd also learn Microsoft Fabric for analytics, which is a new platform, developed by Microsoft last year. And it's a very fantastic platform that organizations are starting to adopt today because it contains so many things within the analytics value chain. It has data science capabilities, data engineering capabilities, data analytics capabilities, and so on and so forth. So organizations are deploying this in their current companies to ensure that they have an all-encompassing platform. So having the skill in Microsoft Fabric would give you an advantage, it puts you ahead of your peers. eventually. All right, so you learn all these amazing tools. And how long does it take you to learn this? For 4 months. 3 months project-based classes. And I emphasize on the project-based classes. Project-based, everything you learn, you work on a project. Excel, you're not learning Excel by watching a video. You are learning Excel by solving the problem in an organization using the functions, using the VLOOKUP, the XLOOKUP, the pivot table, the pivot charts to solve a problem on that particular project, so that when you get the job tomorrow, you know exactly how to use Excel to solve certain type of problems because you've done it before. And how is your class structured for the data analytics? It's a very fantastic blended learning approach. So for the data analytics, you don't have classes every day, every weekend, Saturdays and Sundays, all right? Your live classes where you have a trainer like myself and other industry experts happens on Saturday. So on Saturdays, I have the opportunity to interact with my trainer. We work on projects together. I can ask questions. My questions are answered in real time. Dr. Zubi mentioned how important that was for her. Even though she had a master's, she had a PhD, she had to go for a program, a training, to give her the opportunity to ask questions. So if you are showing me how to do this on Excel, I've done the same thing. I cannot get it. I need to know I can ask you a question. You can look at what I've done and give me guidance, all right? So for the data analytics, your live classes are on Saturdays. For the session where you have people in the UK, across Europe, in Africa, you have 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., all right? And for those in the US and Canada, your class happens from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time is 6 p.m. West Africa time, okay? So you don't have to wake up at odd hours to be in class. 10 a.m. in the US, you are in Edmonton, you are in Calgary, that's 10 a.m. It's a good time for you to join a class. And if you're in Nigeria, you are in Ghana, you are in the UK, you join your class at 11 a.m. West African time. So that fits into your time zone. So it's flexible for you. And on Sundays, you don't have a live class. On Sundays, we have something we call Watch Me Do It videos. So you have these bite-sized videos you get to watch, and it is self-paced at your convenience. You watch these videos, understand the concept, do the things you've seen in the videos because they are Watch Me Do It videos. And on Saturday, when you come for your live class, you get to implement all those things you've watched in the Watch Me Do It. You work on a project and see how to solve problems using those skills. And that's for the data analytics. And I'll move very quickly to HR analytics. And as a HR analyst, your role in any organization is to help that organization analyze the people-related data to help HR take informed decision when it comes to HR policies and strategies. So you want to deploy people-related initiatives. You have to ensure that you are doing it from a data-driven perspective. So a HR analyst is simply somebody who knows HR, somebody who knows HR plus data. Okay, so you know data analytics and you are adding HR to that. So you're not analyzing different types of data. You're analyzing people-related data, HR-related data to help take decisions to drive HR policies, procedures, HR strategies within any organization. And how long does it take you to learn HR analytics? Just like the data analytics, it is also for 4 months, 3 months project-based classes, and 1 month internship. And the internship is the most fantastic thing you can ever imagine, because this is where you have a simulated real-life experience working on projects that you add to your CV. Recruiters would ask you questions on that particular project, and that's where you smile and say, thank God you've asked me that question, and you start to answer. And you're not answering from the point of you having watched the video before on YouTube. You are answering from the point of you working with other people to solve a particular problem. You were involved. So you speak from the point of haven't done it before. You have done it. There's practical experience. Okay, and that's what gets you the job across the globe. Recruiters want to see that experience. So you learn the data analytics skills, problem solving, Excel, Power BI, and SQL. And then you need to know how to analyze HR performance, okay? Performance in an organization related to the people within that organization. So you learn HR analytics and performance evaluation. Learn different metrics that you'd use to measure the performance across talent management, talent sourcing, absenteeism, performance management, and so on and so forth. You learn how to create dashboards using Power BI, HR analysis, and dashboarding. You'd also learn how to automate your reporting. So you've created a dashboard, you want to automate the process. You learn how to do that. You learn how to build your case and create action, and of course, ChatGPT for analytics. And your timing is similar to the data analytics, all right? So you have classes on Saturdays, your live classes on Saturdays, and on Sundays, you have your Watch Me Do It video. So for a slow learner, we always take the beginner in mind. We know that some of you are coming from a totally different background. You've worked in banking, you've worked in logistics. We know this, all right? So all the programs are designed with the beginner in mind. So you don't need any prerequisite experience, prerequisite knowledge. They are all beginner friendly. You don't need to have done HR before to be in the HR analytics program. You don't need to have been a data analyst before to join the data analytics. You come from your different career path, you converge as a group, and we start to build you up into becoming a data analyst, HR analyst, learning all the skills you need to learn. So this is the HR analytics program and the specific key learning areas. And I'll move to financial analytics also very quickly. As a financial analyst, what do? You are simply that professional in an organization that analyzes financial data to help guide the company's investment activities, to analyze the company's performance with regards to finance, and also to look at financial trends in that company. Okay, so every company deals with finances, even a not-for-profit. You'd handle cash, you'd handle finances at different times, at points in time. So you need an analyst that can help you make sense of the financial data, that can tell you when to make investments, that can tell you we are not doing well based on what we have targeted for this specific period. And that's what a financial analyst does. And our financial analytics program is a combination of investment banking, number one, corporate finance, number two, corporate finance, and number three, data analytics. All right. So it's packed, it's a well-packed program: investment banking, corporate finance, and data analytics. And you'd agree with me, there is no organization that would not need a financial analyst, because every organization deals with financial data. Okay. And how long does it take for you to become a financial analyst? Just like the data analytics, 4 months, 3 months project-based classes, 1 month internship. You would learn all the data analytics skills, from problem solving to Excel to Power BI to SQL. And then you now move into the financial related areas, accounting fundamentals, financial analysis. You use different ratios to analyze companies, to understand their performance from those ratios. Financial modeling, you model create different financial models. Best cases, base cases, worst cases. You'd also model companies that are startups that have never been in operations, and you model companies that already exist, all right? You'd learn valuation, sensitivity, and scenario analysis, and ChatGPT for analytics. And again, you don't need any financial experience. You don't need any accounting experience to be in this program. So you're taking data analytics, you are adding investment banking, you are adding corporate finance, and that gives you financial analytics professional. All right. And just like the other programs like data analytics and HR, classes are on Saturdays and Sundays. Saturdays, you have your live classes, and on Sundays, you have the self-paced watch me do it videos. And I'll show you the platform. So you see how the platform is, how you take your live classes, you know, where all your materials would be deposited. You can always go back for reference. And of course, you have your 1-month internship, just like the other programs. Okay, now let's move to data science. And this is one very interesting career path. As a data scientist, you are taking the data analytics skills to the next level. All right. So the data analyst answers 2 questions. I talked about those 2 questions. Descriptive, which is what happened in this company. What happened? Why did it happen? Why did it happen? And the data scientist now takes it a step further by adding statistical modeling and also working with more complex data. So the data scientist would answer another question, which is what will happen, which is predicting, looking into the future. You know what happened, you know why it happened. You can now take your data, the historical data from 2022, 2023, and use that to predict what will happen in 2024. And for you to do this, you need to have understanding of statistics, machine learning, and so on and so forth. All right. And statistics, of course, is the foundation of machine learning. And machine learning, you would need to use tools like Python for you to build your machine learning models. So as a data scientist, you are that professional who combines statistical modeling and also advanced data analytics to extract knowledge and insights from data to help companies take decisions and also plan for the future, because you can see into the future by answering the question, what will happen? Okay. And what do you need to learn to be a data scientist? 4 months learning journey, 3 months project-based classes, and your fantastic 1-month internship. And you need to learn statistics. That's where you start from. And then you move into Excel. But this time around, you are learning Excel for predictive analytics and forecasting. How to forecast, how to predict what will happen in the future. You learn Tableau for data analytics, and of course, SQL, structured query language. You move into Python programming, which is the language you'd use to build your machine learning models and carry out your exploratory data analysis. Now, because as a data scientist, you are working with more complex data than the data analyst, you need to have a more robust tool like Python to help you with your data wrangling and your exploratory data analysis, your multivariate, your bivariate, your univariate analysis, and so on and so forth. All right. You'd also use Python for your machine learning, and you'll also create computer vision programs. You'd work on a computer vision project, and this is where you would build a program that can detect objects. Okay, and if we have time, I'll show you these programs our participants have built. You can detect objects. So you'd have a camera on your laptop, and once your laptop looks at me, your laptop can detect my eyes, my nose, my smile, my face, and so on and so forth. All right. Now, why is this important? A use case, a common use case for object detection, which is part of the projects you'll be working on, is let's take Zoom, for example. You guys are all seeing my face, okay? And there is a banner behind me, which is the Tenalytics banner. But behind the banner, you have other stuff. There is a wall behind me, but you can't see the wall. The camera is only focusing on me and nothing else. And this is a classic example of object detection. So the camera can see only the human being in front of it and fades away every other thing at the background. And these are the type of projects you'll be working on. You'll also learn GitHub for version control, GitHub Copilot and ChatGPT, and also Microsoft Fabric for analytics. Okay, and of course, your classes are also blended. Your live classes are on Saturdays and your self-paced classes are on Sundays. Okay, Sundays, you don't have to join a live class. You get your Watch Me Do It videos at your convenience when you get back from church, for those of you that are Christians. And for some people, they break their Watch Me Do It videos even into the week. So you watch a part of it on Sunday, you watch a part on Monday, on Tuesday, Wednesday, just ensuring that you watch everything before your next live class, where you work on a project, solving a problem. And that's for the data science program. And we have just 2 more programs, and then we've come to the end of explaining all the career path. And I'll move to the data engineer. Now, I explained that data engineering, the data engineers earn fantastic salaries. The reason why they earn fantastic salaries is simply because, majorly, number one, the role they play in the data value chain. And what is that role? A data engineer provides the data for any other person that's going to work with the data. Because organizations would have their data in different systems and in different locations. Okay, so imagine having your data on the web. There is a website that has data. There is a POS that also has data of your transactions. And you also have an application that also has data. Okay, so this website would have a database that contains the data. The POS would have a database. The app would also have a database. But the data analyst cannot go there to analyze the data. The data scientist cannot go there. Somebody has to make that data available. And that's the data engineer, who would create pipelines from all the different sources and move that data into something you call a data warehouse, so that the HR analyst, the data analyst, the data scientist can have access to that data. So that's what the data engineer does in any organization. So that data engineer would bring the data, make the data available, create the infrastructure and the data pipelines to get that data into a central location where everybody can access that data. How long does it take you to learn data engineering? 5 months. You become a data engineer in 5 months. You'd learn in class for 3 months, project-based classes, and then your internship would be for 2 months. So it's a little bit more than the other programs where your internship is for 1 month. So data, because of the complexity of the project you'll be working on, you'll do that for 2 months, all right? So you learn introduction to data engineering, SQL, structured query language, Python, Linux for your bash scripting. You'll learn how to build ETL pipelines to move your data using Python. You'll learn Apache Spark, Apache Airflow for orchestration and automation, AWS cloud engineering. You'd also learn how to interact with the cloud, move data to the cloud using AWS as a cloud platform, version control using GitHub, and ChatGPT and Copilot, all right? And for the data engineering, you have 2 classes, live classes on Saturdays, live classes on Sundays, all right? 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Saturdays, 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. on Sundays. And that's for the data engineering. And I'll move to the Scrum very quickly. And this is a very interesting career path for so many people, simply because it is less heavy on tools. You're not learning a lot of tools. You're not learning Power BI. You're not learning Tableau, Excel, and all those tools. You're not learning Python. You are learning what? Methodologies and processes. So a Scrum Master is that professional in any organization who leverages and implements the Agile framework. So in project management, you have Agile and you have Waterfall. Okay, now Agile is used in the tech ecosystem because Agile is adaptive. When you leverage or you deploy the Agile framework on any project, it means that you can keep on iterating that project. You don't need to figure everything out from the beginning. You can create a product, deploy that product to the market. People would walk and use that product to get feedback from the users and the customers and make adjustments to that product. So you'd see your different tools. Everybody uses Instagram. Everybody uses WhatsApp. WhatsApp was not figured out from the beginning. Okay, WhatsApp was a product that was deployed. Everybody started to use WhatsApp. And the more feedback we gave, those feedbacks were used to what? Modify, make WhatsApp better, and implement new changes. And that's why the Scrum Masters are very important in the tech ecosystem, because tech-related companies want to release products that they can develop very quickly, test it in the market, get feedback, make iterations, test it again, and so on and so forth. So you work on the most important aspect of that product, and you do that in sprints. So a sprint can be for maybe 2 weeks. So 2 weeks, we're going to work on creating an application that can upload images and can also upload audio. Those are the most important features. You build and you deploy. You get feedback, and you've seen people have used it, and they say that, oh, we also need a feature that can allow comments. You build comments again, you deploy. And that's what the Agile methodology helps you do. And the person that helps to implement the Agile methodology is the Scrum Master. So, and how long does it take you to learn Scrum and the Agile framework and Agile methodology? 2 months. 1 month in class, learning all the technicalities, the frameworks, and so on, and 1 month working on real-world projects. So you start with introduction to Scrum, the Scrum team and artifacts, learn how to learn increments, the sprint backlog, the Scrum events, like a sprint review, your sprint planning, and so on and so forth. The Nexus scaled Scrum, implementing Scrum across different teams and on a larger scale. And of course, preparation for the professional Scrum Master examination. And how is a Scrum Master class structured? Your live classes are Saturdays and Sundays. Monday, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Sundays, 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. West Africa time. And that's a Scrum Master program. Fantastic career path as a Scrum Master. Lastly, last but not the least, is a cybersecurity analyst. And who is a cybersecurity analyst? This is the professional who ensures that the data, the systems, the network of every organization is what? Safe from cyber attacks, safe from intruders or cyber threats. That's the cybersecurity analyst. And this is a very important role in any organization. And today you realize that to set up a Facebook account, you need 2-factor authentication for literally every application today. You want to open an email, you need 2-factor authentication, 2FA, and these are systems and, different strategies built by cybersecurity analysts to ensure that your systems, your applications are protected from threats and cyber attacks. So how long does it take you? 4 months to become a cybersecurity analyst. You learn for 3 months and 1 month working on projects. And you learn introduction to cybersecurity because you start from the foundation. You don't need any experience. You move to foundations of computing and networking, information security principles, offensive and defensive, cybersecurity, cryptography, cyber threats and attack vectors, network endpoint security, web and application security, and of course, cloud security. Today, our data is in the cloud. We work with different platforms, cloud platforms from AWS to Google Cloud Platform to Azure. So how do you protect your cloud infrastructure? Incident response and forensics, and of course, cybersecurity policies and compliance. And these are the skills that you need to get a job as a cybersecurity analyst anywhere across the globe. How would your classes, happen during the weekend? You have live classes on Saturdays and Sundays. Saturdays, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Sundays, 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. And these are all the 8 programs that we offer across the Tenalytics offerings, and we have free internship across all the programs. So you have an internship when you're done with cybersecurity. You have an internship when you're done with data analytics. And the internship gives you the opportunity to gather experience and to also ensure that your portfolio stands out. All right? But that's not where we do the best work. Our best work is done by helping you to get a job. Okay? Because that's the focus for so many people across Canada. You're in Canada, you want to get a job. Maybe you are a student, you are a postgraduate diploma student, undergraduate diploma, master's student. You want to get a job like Uzoma as a business analyst. And I'll give you a very quick story of a gentleman who moved to Canada for 2 years. He was a banker in Nigeria, wanted to get a job as in the bank as a senior banking officer. And for 2 years, he was doing odd jobs because he couldn't land a job. What did he do? He joined our program, the business analysis program, and in less than 3 months after completing his program, he got a job with Scotiabank in Canada as a business analyst. And that's where we do the best work. Why you should train with us at Tenalytics. Number one is our phenomenal achievements in helping people to land jobs across the major economies, from the UK. The UK, for example, if Femena is in Canada, we have industry experts across the globe helping you prepare. You know the right things to say when you get into interviews. You know how to structure your CV, what's the appropriate CV format, and so on and so forth. And over the last 4 years, we've been able to help over 2,000 people to transition from the classroom, learning skills of the classroom, to getting a job out there in the job market. And we have a track record, all right? All the testimonials on YouTube. At the end of the session, go on YouTube, search Tenalytics, and listen to all the amazing stories from people that have been able to transition. Number two is the best in the business. You saw Dr. Zubi, you saw Uzoma. We bring the best in the business to help you navigate and transition. And our curriculum is also the best and up to date. So you see skills like ChatGPT for analytics. You see the business analyst learning data analytics skills to give you an edge. You see the data analyst and the data scientist learning Microsoft Fabric to give you an edge. So we are in the industry, we are doing the job. We know what is obtainable and what recruiters are looking out for. And those things are incorporated into your curriculum. And of course, the most important out of everything we've said today is the tailored sessions that will position you to land a job. And I know some of you are waiting to show you the framework for you to answer a very simple, but yet a question that a lot of people fail to answer correctly, which is introduce yourself or tell me about yourself, or can we get to meet you? So we have the mentorship sessions, we have CV review sessions, LinkedIn optimization sessions that helps you prepare for those definite eventualities. And this is why you train with us and why we have been so successful over the last 4 years. And I'll walk you through very quickly all those different areas, from your CV sessions to Upwork optimization to recommendation and reference letters. CV, for example, is so important to the extent that once you are with Tenalytics, you apply to 100 jobs with 100 different CVs. You don't use one CV and apply to so many jobs. No. Why? Because you are not going to get positive outcomes. You want to get positive outcomes, what do? You have to know how to tailor your CV so that you are able to beat the ATS system, the applicant tracking system that companies would use to check for keywords on your CV. So every job application is a new CV. So we work with you, show you how to tailor your CV, show you how to do a job matching and ensure that when you're applying to that job, you get positive outcomes. LinkedIn optimization. There are so many tricks and tips on LinkedIn. Uzoma talked about writing hiring and the job. Something you can also do on Google I'll show you how to do that, okay? Whereby you want to apply on LinkedIn, but for the most recent jobs, there is something you just type in on LinkedIn. Sites, you type, I'll show you how to do that practically, okay? Sites, LinkedIn jobs, and so on. I'll show you how to type that out on LinkedIn, and you'd see how to tailor your job search to the most specific jobs. Where you have just 10 people that have applied, you can apply to jobs that was just posted 1 hour ago, 2 hours ago, and so on and so forth. So we show you how to do this. Optimize your LinkedIn profile to attract the best organization. Upwork, for those who want to do freelance jobs, work from Nigeria, work for companies in the US, in the UK, work for companies across Europe. I did it when I was in Nigeria. I worked for so many organizations across the globe as a freelancer and also as a contractor, okay? And these are the ways you can do that. Navigating the job market, knowing where to apply to jobs, how the UK market is different from the Canadian market and also different from the US market. So how do you position yourself based on your specific location? Interview prep. When you get into an interview, or before you get into an interview, how do you know the right things to say based on the job description? And these are the things we help you prepare for. And for the questions people ask, tell me about yourself. The approach you leverage to answer that question is called the SEAT approach, S-E-A-T, the SEAT approach. So this is a freebie you are getting from this session today. If you are ever asked, tell me about yourself, don't just start to ramble and say, my name is Adeza, I'm from Kogi State, I'm the first child in my family, I'm from this local government, I'm a data, and you start to say different things that makes no coherent sense, all right? So how do you leverage the SEAT approach? S, you start with your skills. You start with your skills, you list your set of skills. All right, my name is Adeza Suleiman. I have experience using Excel, Power BI, SQL, and Python as a data analyst and a data scientist. So you look at the job description you're being interviewed for, and you want to put those skills in front, first of all, and then you talk about your experience. I have 5 years experience working as a data scientist, especially working in the medical, in the health sector, and also in the energy sector, where I spent 2 years and I did some of the best work as a data scientist. So you talk about your experience, also in line with the job description that you are being applied, you are being interviewed for. And then you talk about achievements. Achievements. So once you talked about your skills, your experience, you talk about your achievements using metrics. Okay, some of the best work I did was where I built a data warehouse in my previous role, and that data warehouse helped the department to reduce the reporting time by over 80%. Of course, you always have to align this to the job description. Who are they looking for? Who is the right person for this job? And how can I position myself at every point in time to fit into that persona of the person they're trying to recruit for? And lastly is what? Something we call traits. Traits or type of person. Traits or type of person. So you've researched the company. Let's assume you are recruiting for Amazon, and you've seen that their core values is professionalism, punctuality, and so on and so forth. When you're talking about your traits, you must include that as your type of person. So you've talked about your skills, your experience, your achievements. You talk about the fact that I'm a team player. I'm that person who likes to solve problems and to ensure that I'm always punctual in my delivery, and I look for a solution. You talk about those traits in line with the core values of that organization that you are recruiting for. And that's how you answer the question, tell me about yourself. So when Uzoma said she was very happy when they asked her, she had practiced and she had prepared for that. And this is the SEAT approach for introducing yourself. Now I'll go to the STAR approach very quickly, which is for the competency-based questions. When you ask questions like, tell me about a time you have optimized the process as a business analyst in your previous experience. You don't just start saying anything you feel like saying. You have to use what we call the STAR approach for competency-based questions. And I'm simply just going to tell you what STAR means. Some of you might have seen it, but you've never really used it, so you don't know how to use the STAR approach. And these are the things that will teach you how to craft your story. There must always be a story. It doesn't matter what you have on your CV if you've done it practically, if you've done it before. And that was what Dr. Zubi also mentioned. You want to show that you are the right person. So you tailor your CV to fit that role. And this is where you start to craft your story around each line you have indicated on your CV. And the STAR approach, S is for situation. So you talk about the situation. Oh, tell me about the time you optimized the process. Okay. So when I joined this company, it took 5 days for a customer to order and for that order to be delivered to the customer. That was the situation. What was the task required? The task required was to shorten the order to delivery time by 90%. What was your action? What action did you take? I leveraged my skills as a business analyst using Draw.io to map out the process and created something we call the current state or the as-is process. And I looked for inefficiencies and implemented optimization strategies to take that as-is state to the future state. So you start to talk about what you did as an individual, not as a collective or as a team. What did you do? Okay, and that would be the action. So you start to talk about the tools and the skills that you have on the job description for that particular role. You craft your story around that. And of course, you talk about the results. So when you did all the things you did, what was the result and the outcome eventually? You talk about that as well. And this is how you leverage the SEAT approach and the STAR approach to answering questions. And these are not things that you learn by just watching a video. You learn them by what? Working with mentors and people that have been on the role, and they show you how to craft it and also tell the story in a way that makes it compelling enough for a recruiter to know that you know your stuff. All right. And of course, the second level is the weekly mentorship sessions that you always have. Every Thursday evening, you meet with myself, you meet with Efemena and other industry experts like Dr. Zubi, like Uzoma, who would come to you to also speak and tell you what exactly you need, the way it is. You need to do the hard work. You need to put in the hard work. You need to have some sleepless nights because these are the hard truths that help you transition eventually. So you have those mentors that will come every weekly to speak to you and also on the job support. And the last level is the level which we call level 3. And we started to deploy this from 2024, which is our promise to you. Because of the confidence that we have in what we have been doing and the partnerships we have with recruitment agencies in the UK, like Hayes, Robert Half in Canada, Korn Ferry in the US, and all these partnerships and many more partnerships we are still trying to secure, and all the amazing stuff we are going to do for you. We have one promise, which is you will get an interview, a job interview 1 month after completing your training. And Dr. Uzoma said something that is very important, which is the moment you get an interview, it means that there is something they have seen in you that they like. They have seen something in you that they liked. It's now left for you to prepare for that interview. And we are going to prepare you for the interview to help you land the job. Somebody registered last week for our program, even though the program is going to start in March. She registered because she had an interview yesterday, the 9th of February, and she needed us to work with her. We worked with her, we prepared her for the interview, and the interview went well, okay? And we are waiting for a positive feedback. And this is somebody who has not even started her training. The training would start in March, but she had an interview yesterday. And these are the things we bring to bear to ensure that we help you transition. And our next cohort starts on the 2nd of March, 2024. And we are saying this is the best time for you to jump into tech. If you are in the UK, you are confused on how to get that skilled worker visa, how to get an offer that'll give you a certificate of sponsorship that will enable you transition into a skilled worker visa. All right, you have the opportunity to work with us, and would train you on all the technical skills you need to learn, either as a data analyst or as a business analyst, as a data scientist, because these are the roles that are on the shortage occupation list. If you're in the UK, you know there's something called a shortage occupation list. And this shortage occupation list has all the different roles categorized into job codes. And these are the roles that are high in demand. So if you are in a particular career path and you have an offer on that role, you get additional 20 points, okay? Because for you to transition to get a skilled worker visa, you need 70 points. But that's a different session for another day. For those in Canada, for those in the US, you want to compete for the best jobs available, this is the best time for you to start your journey. January is gone. We are in February. Before you know it, February is gone and we move into March. How do you start your journey into tech? Start with us on the 2nd of March, 2024. And we are encouraging you to start by giving you an amazing discount for the first 20 people who will be joining the program starting on the 2nd of March. All right. And the discount for those who will be joining either the data analytics, business analysis, HR analytics, financial analytics, or full stack data science, instead of joining and paying $750, you get a $150 discount and get to pay just $600 to get into the class. And to make it even a little easier for you, you can also break the payment into 2 installments. So you get to break your payment into 2 installments if you're paying a discounted amount. So you have 2 amazing advantages. First of all, you have a discount of $600, and then you can also make your payment in 2 installments of $450 and $150. And if you're paying in pounds, instead of paying £625, you also get £125 discount, amazing discount, and pay only £500 to get into the class. And you can also structure your payment in two installments if you are taking advantage of the discounts, $375 and $125. And if you are paying in Naira, you also get a discount to pay just $720 and pay it in 2 installments of $540 and $180. And that's for those who will be either joining the data analytics, business analysis, HR analytics, financial analytics, or the full stack data science. So you have these amazing discounts. And remember, it's not available to everybody. It's available to those who are ready to start their journey, for the first 20 people to be a part of the program. Now, for those who will be joining the cybersecurity or the data engineering program, the fees are a little bit different. So for data engineering and cybersecurity, you also have amazing discounts of, instead of paying $900, you get to pay $750, $150 discounts. And of course, once you are paying the discounted amount, you also have the opportunity to pay in 2 installments of $550 and $200. If you are paying in pounds, instead of paying £750, you get to pay £625, £125 discount. And the first installment is $460 and $165. All right. And for those joining the Scrum Master program, fantastic career path, you also have an amazing discount. Instead of paying $450, you get to pay $350, which can be broken into 2 installments of $250 and $100. And if you are paying in pounds, instead of $375, you get to pay $295, £200 and £95. And if you're paying in Naira, of course, you pay the discounted amount of 420,000 Naira, and you pay that 300 first installment and 120,000 second installment. And I'll quickly walk you through how to make payments for those of you that are interested. What if you don't have experience? You don't experience is very easy to get, Chukwuemeka. Now, how do you gain experience? You gain experience by working on projects. All right? You gain experience by working on projects. And that's why your sessions and your classes are project-based. So the moment you register with Tenalytics, you are not a learner. You are not a trainee at Tenalytics. You are a professional at Tenalytics. You're a data analyst with Tenalytics. You're a Scrum Master with Tenalytics. You're a business analyst with Tenalytics. And that's what you put on your profile. And I'll showcase on LinkedIn, I'll show you our participants that have gotten jobs and how they were able to use this particular strategy to land their jobs eventually. And that's how you gain experience, Chukwuemeka. So if I want to make payments, how do I do that? Right? All you need to do is pay using this link you have on the right-hand side. If I click on this link, it takes me into the enrollment page. All right, it takes me to the enrollment page. And from the enrollment page, you have access to all the program brochures. So you want to see the nitty-gritty of what you learn. So if I click on the program brochures and I go to data analytics, for example, I can see the nitty-gritty of what I'll learn. What will I learn in Excel? What will I learn in Power BI, and so on and so forth? So I'll just scroll down so you see the brochure. You can go through the brochure, see the specifics. Problem solving, for example, you're going to learn how to define problem statements, the 5 whys to get to the root cause analysis, how to leverage the CRISP-DM framework to solving data-related problems, how to use the prioritization matrix, the McKinsey-Mason model, how to gather data, how to synthesize insights. If you move into Excel, you'd start your Excel journey by first of all learning the Excel environment. You'd also learn basic functions in Excel. So you're not starting by learning the complex stuff. You start from the foundation and then you build your way up. So you have the brochures, you have Power BI, you have SQL, what you learn in SQL, okay? You'd first start with what is data, what is a database, and you learn all those amazing stuff. And of course, you'd see your journey, just like I have mentioned, and you'd also see some of the projects that you work on as a data analyst. So you have access to the program brochures when you click on the link. And of course, you'd see your facilitators, the people that will train you, industry experts. And I'm just going to show you, of course, I'm one of them. I'm one of your facilitators. Femena is also one of your facilitators. You have Olubemi, who is a business data analyst in Canada. You have Oladapo, who is a senior consultant with Deloitte in Bermuda. You have Mohammed, who is a senior data associate at Tenalytics. And you have Shukra, who is also a senior data associate at Tenalytics. And these are your facilitators. Mohammed, for example, has worked with Alfa Romeo in the US, helping them in their supply chain department to analyze and make sense of the data that they have. So that's the brochure, and you have access to the brochure. But if I want to make payments, how do I go ahead and make payments? Now, if you want to register using your card, you are in the UK, you are in Europe, you are somewhere across any of the major economies. So you'd see the non-Naira card payments, and you also have a pound account for those who would want to, pay by doing a direct transfer. But you want to pay with your card, all you need to do is select the program that you want to pay for. So I want to pay for the Scrum Master or for data analytics. All I need to do, click on data analytics, and it takes me into the main stack page. And I'm just going to wait until it comes up, and then I'll show you what you need to do to make payments for the data analytics or any other program that you click on. All right, so this brings up the data analytics program for me. And all I need to do is I enter the amount that I want to pay. Now, this is amazing because the program starts on the 2nd of March, but I want to secure my discounted slots. Remember, the discount is only for the first 20 people. You can pay a minimum of £252 today, secure your slot, and then pay the balance of the first installment before the class starts, 1 week before the class starts on the 2nd of March. So let's assume I have £252. I just come here, or I have £300 I want to pay to secure my discounts. I enter £300, okay? And then of course it will show you your the currency based on your region, right? It's showing me in pounds because of my region. I click on reserve a seat. It takes me here. I enter my email. I enter my full name, enter my phone number, and I click on proceed. And I enter my card details. And the moment I make payments, I make the payment of £300, I'll get an automated receipt into my email. And you'd also get a form that you need to fill to upload that receipt to register your payments, okay? And that's how you get to make payments. Simple and short. Any of the programs, the full stack data science, cybersecurity, click on that and it takes you into the platform. Now, for those who would want to pay using the Naira option, using your Naira card payment, how do you pay using your Naira card and so on? All you need to do is you can pay using Paystack, collect payments using Paystack. Click on the link that says all programs and it takes you into the Paystack storefront and I can select the program I want. So I want HR analytics, for example, or I want business analysis. I click on that. It brings this up for me and I can select if I want to pay full or part. Okay, so I click, I can select full payments, pay the full payment, or select part payment to pay the part payment. Click on add to bag. Click on checkout, enter your full name, your last name, your email, your phone number, click on review and pay, and then you will get an automated receipt into your email and also a link for you to make to upload that receipt and enter your registration. And lastly, you can also do a direct transfer to our Tenalytics bank account, which is a Fidelity bank account. So the enrollment page contains everything that you need. And once you have done a direct transfer, for example, once you've done a direct transfer, either to our pound account, to our Naira account, or you've also made payments using Paystack or Mainstack, all you need to do when you receive the link to upload your receipts, you can also come here, click on upload your receipts, and then you fill this form to upload your receipts, all right? So the form is very straightforward. You enter your email, select the type of payments. If it's full payment, initial payments, let's say I enter my email, for example. Okay, I select if it is full payment or part payments. Let's say I made full payment, click on next, enter your first name, enter your last name, your registration email, your gender, and click on next until you see the option to upload your receipts. You upload the receipts. Now, some people would also say, oh, Adeza, I don't know if I should do the business analysis like Uzoma, or I should do the data analytics like Dr. Zubi. I'm kind of confused. Now, as you fill this form, you'll get to the point where, let me just enter something here so I can show you that particular point, okay? So you get to the point where you see where to select the program that you have paid for, okay? So let me just keep filling this. Yes, I have read the terms and conditions. Click on next. When did I make payment? I made payment today. Upload a screenshot because you need to upload something. So I'm just going to upload any image I find on my computer, okay? Just to show you what the process looks like. So let's upload an image, okay? So the proof of payment gives us the opportunity to confirm your payment and then send you a welcome kit. The welcome kit contains all the materials, the applications that you need for any of the programs. Mode of payment, I paid using Paystack. Click on next. All right. Which program are you registering for? And this is where you select the program you have registered for. But if you are not sure, secure your discounts, make your initial payments, secure the discounted slots, and come here to select what? I need to speak with a professional. So once you select, I need to speak with a professional, every Tuesdays, we have something we call the one-on-one session or the clarity session. And this is where myself and Femena would be on the call. One-on-one will help answer the questions that you have to help you make a decision. Should I go with data analytics? Should I go with business analysis, HR analytics, and so on and so forth, okay? And that's what you can do to speak with us every Tuesday. But the most important thing is what? Secure the discounts. So you are part of the first 20 people to register. All right. So I'm going to take questions. All right. We're going to take questions because I know you have burning questions. I'll be very happy to answer your questions. So you can either send your questions to the chat or you can simply raise your hand and I'll take your question. I can see somebody who raised his hand right from the very beginning of this session, Larry. Larry, I'm going to come to you in the next 2 minutes, okay? Now, some people would ask the question that I might be busy in March and I'm not sure I'll be able to start on the 2nd of March, but I want to take advantage of the discount. What do I do? You can also make your payment, secure the discounts today, and then what do? When you are filling the form and you see the option of what cohorts do you intend to start, rather than selecting 2nd of March, we have another cohort that would commence on the 6th of April. So you secure the discounts today ahead of the April cohort, okay? So I can select 6th of April, and then we know that, okay, you have secured your discount ahead of the cohorts that starts in April. Okay, so these are some of the things you can do to ensure that you enjoy the amazing discounts that we have to offer and also get your journey started. I'm going to take a pause at this point in time, and I want to take questions from those of you that have questions for the next 10 minutes, and then we call it a day. So I'm going to start with Larry because Larry's hand has been up right from the beginning of the session. So for those of you that also have questions, please ask your questions in the chat. Myself and Femena will take those questions. So Larry, I've asked you to unmute yourself. If you have a question, please go ahead and ask your question. Okay, please go ahead and ask your question. Chris Merit is asking, how much is the training fee? You have that right on your screen, Merit. Okay, so you have that right on the screen. I believe that is showing, yes. Okay, so you have that right on the screen, Merit. Okay, Omeza is asking, how do we know how many slots are left? So that's why you need to take advantage now, Omeza, Dominic. Take advantage of the discounts and be a part of the program, okay? I'm not sure Larry is still with us. Let me see if we have other questions. Would we get a mail? Absolutely. At the end of today's session, you receive an email. The email would have, you'll get that tomorrow, obviously. It would have the slides for today's session, the recording, the link to the recording, and all the materials we've used today. You have access to that. Okay, how do I secure my discounts? Ikakita Atafi. So Atafi, all you need to do is you click on the link. My colleagues have shared that in the charts, and we've had payments coming in already, and people are securing their discounted slots already. So all you need to do is click on the link, okay, and it takes you into the main Stack page. I just walked you through that. I think you said you had network issues. So it brings you here, Itafi. All right, it brings you to the Tenalytics Enrollment Center, and this is where you secure your discounts. Okay, by clicking on any of these links for the program you want to register for. You want to register for the data science, for example, or the HR analytics. All you need to do is click on it, and it takes you into the page where you would be registering for the program. All right, and it doesn't matter where you are, because we have, for people in Ghana, you have two options. You can either use the main Stack option to pay in dollars, or you can use the pay Stack option to pay in Naira, and it does the conversion for you. automatically. So you don't need to worry about the conversion. It does that for you automatically, right? So at Taffy, let's assume you want to register for HR. You come in here, secure your discount, the first installment of £375, okay? Enter the amount, just type it in, click on proceed to pay, enter your email, enter your full name, and so on, and then you get into, you get to make payments and you receive a receipt into your email. And one last thing I'll just show you as you're asking your questions is the platform. So when you register, what would the platform look like? How do you join? Okay, so when you register, you join a classroom, and I'll show you what the classroom looks like. So for those that started in February cohort started on the 3rd of February. So you have data analytics, financial analytics, HR analytics, and I'll just open, let's go to the one for January because they've done a bit more. So I'll go to the January cohorts. Let's open the business analysis for January and let's see what the classroom looks like. All right. And one of the beauties of learning with Tenalytics is the fact that you don't miss out on anything. So this platform, which is your classroom, contains all the materials that you would use in class. Your class login details to join your live classes, your class recordings, to have the recordings for every single class, the slides, the data set, your case studies, everything would be here. Okay, so let's assume that you miss a class. All you need to do is come here, go to your recordings, watch the recording, and you have access. So for this particular class, going to the very beginning, they started on the 6th of January, 2024. So you have an onboarding session. That's the very first thing you do. And then you have an Excel live class. So very first Excel class. Now, when we say your classes are project-based, this is what we mean. If I go to the class material, you'll see the case study, where immediately you are working on the project. And this case study is for a company called Glow Gadgets. And Glow Gadgets is an eco-friendly electronics manufacturing company. Okay, so you'd work for this company to help them do what? Understand how they can optimize their processes, understand how they can also tailor their products to specific type of customers within the customers that they serve. And this is one of the very first case studies you're going to work on. And these case studies are real life case studies, real world projects that myself, Femena, and other industry experts have worked on during the course of our career, and we have curated all the experiences into case studies like this. And of course, all what we've done is to ensure that we codify the data and you don't have data privacy issues, and you can't tie any of these case studies to a specific company. So you start with Excel. Now let's assume you missed this class, the very first Excel class. All you need to do is come to your class recording. Click on the link to the class recording and it takes you to the recording of what happened in class. Okay, so what happened in class, you come back here, you watch it, implement all the things you have, and then afterwards, if you have questions, you're going to be in a WhatsApp group with your trainers, you have a data coach, you have a class coordinator, and you can ask your questions and have that addressed for you. Okay, so this is just going to take a while to come up, but that's your class recordings. So that's it. I think it's up now. Okay, so you see where you have that one-on-one interaction with your class facilitator, understanding different stuff across Excel. You have the opportunity to stop and ask questions and so on. So it's a real practical live class, real-time case studies, real-time questions, and also real-time support that you get to enjoy. Now, you've watched the recording and you have questions. Those questions have been answered, but you've tried them and you really couldn't get them. There is something we call the drop-in session. And the drop-in session is designed for people who miss classes or for people who have issues understanding specific stuff in a particular class. So the drop-in session is where you would join in on this session during the week, in the evenings, when we know that, yes, you are back from work or you are done with classes, you are a master's student, and you have your class facilitator work with you to help you address that issue in your drop-in session. So that's the best thing you can ever imagine. You've missed a class, you've watched the recording, you've tried the things they did in class, you couldn't get it. You have the opportunity to join a drop-in session. So it's more or less like a makeup class, okay, that happens for every single program, all right? And we designed all these systems of support because we know that most of you are new transitioning into tech. So you have one or two issues. And just like the problems you face when you have to learn on other online platforms out there, whereby you can't meet with a real person to show you that this is what you need to touch, this is what you need to change. You don't have that opportunity, but you do have that with us at Tenalytics during your drop-in sessions, where somebody will join you, look at the problem you have, and tell you categorically what you need to do to solve that problem, okay? So you also have presentations to help optimize your presentation skills. As a data analyst, as a business analyst, you will be doing presentations, okay? So when you work on a case study, working with group members, you have groups, you work together in groups, you present that case study, showcasing your findings, your insights, and communicating that just like you would in the real world as a business analyst. So when you get into the job, you get a job, you know exactly what to do, you know exactly what to say because you've done it so many times. All right. So this is just showing you the platform. Do we get to us? Please, do you get to assist remote? Absolutely. So remote jobs, we know that that's also a very critical part of what we do at Tenalytics, okay? Helping you get remote jobs. And I'll show you this very quickly. People that have secured remote jobs learning with us. And we have a couple of them, okay? I'll show you two people for the gentleman that asked the question. You have Victor. Victor Oyeshino lived in Lagos, Nigeria, worked for a company in the US, Hugo, in Chicago, Illinois, working remotely, earning in dollars, but living and spending in Naira. So absolutely phenomenal. You know, you can imagine with the current rates and what the dollar rate is today, it's an absolutely amazing opportunity. You also have Abdul Rashid. Abdul Rashid worked as a data scientist from Nigeria, still currently works with them. Chao 420 in the US, working as a data scientist, still currently earning in dollars and spending in Naira. And Abdul Rashid lives now he's in Abuja, but when he got this job, he was in Niger State, if I'm correct. So these are people that have been able to get remote jobs. So during your navigating the job market session, you have professionals that will work with you, showing you how you need to structure your CV, where to apply to these remote jobs. Because remote jobs, that's a different ballgame entirely. So you need to know how to apply, where to apply, and those are the type of support you get from us. I think I just answered your question, Omeza. Okay. I just answered that question. Chiamaka is asking, okay, I think I answered Chiamaka's question just now as well. Do we get a certificate? Absolutely, Sumisola. You get a certificate that showcases that you have completed the program and you have the skills. Like Dr. Zubi mentioned, and Uzoma also mentioned, one philosophy that we imbibe in all our participants, and one philosophy that works anywhere across the globe for anybody getting into specific areas, like a data analyst, a data scientist, it is always competence. So take this home, jot it down and take it home. Competence over credentials. The first thing you want to do is to what? Get the skills and experience. After you have done this, you have gotten the skills and experience. If you want to chase certificates, be my guest and you can chase certificates. I've been a data analyst for close to a decade. I've worked in Nigeria for some of the largest organizations, with multinationals that have operations across different regions. I've worked in the UK, I've worked in the US. I don't have one certificate, okay? And this is my experience. And I can speak for Ifemena when I say Ifemena has worked as a data scientist, business systems analyst, data engineer, and also has 0 certification, okay? So the focus, organizations would not ask, they don't care about your certificates. Like Dr. Uzoma said, people are sitting for exams for people. All right, you want to write a PMP, you want to write a certificate, you have people that sit and write the exams for you. So you have the certificates, but then you are put beside another person without a certificate. You are given a data set and you are told to come do a presentation and you really have nothing to offer because all you have is just to sit down and write an exam, but you don't have the skills to get the job done. And that's where the difference lies. So it's always competence over credentials, any day, anytime. And that's what gets you the job. Okay, so I hope I answered that question. I'm not sure if we have more questions. For those of you that have more questions, what I'll advise you to do is, okay, how much do you pay to secure the discount in Naira before completing the first payment? Engineer Lotana is asking. So Engineer Lotana, it depends on the program, okay? Because there are different programs, right? And they have different fees as well. But I'll go back to the fees very quickly for Engineer Lotana, who asked the question, okay? And this would also be sent to you. But all I'll just tell you, what typically happens is by Monday, by Tuesday, when we have a session like this, all the discounted slots are gone. All right, so you'll receive this into your email. We'll send this to you. You'll have the opportunity to look at it, ensure that you go ahead and secure your slots so that we don't have people coming back to say, oh, I need a discount. Can you make that available to me? All right, Bridget is saying, I'm a Ghanaian and I have no intention to relocate. Will you still assist me to get a job? I think I've answered that question already, Bridget. Now, the advantage you have, Bridget, and anybody else staying back in Africa is you have a unique opportunity to get a job easily in the tech ecosystem. Because ask me, who are the people leaving Africa? You can call it whatever you want to call it. You can call it the Japa syndrome. You can call it the brain drain, whatever you want to call it. Who are the people leaving? The tech professionals, the data analysts, the data scientists, the data engineers, the scrum masters, the business analysts. They are the ones leaving because their jobs are guaranteed abroad. They can compete to get some of the best jobs when they move abroad. So you have a gaping hole in different organizations in Nigeria today, in Ghana today, across Africa, in Kenya, in South Africa, because people are leaving and migrating, leaving those roles vacant. And you don't have enough people with the right skills and capacity to fill those roles. So you have the skill today. Trust me, Bridget, you stand the chance of getting into that role faster than you ever would before. So I think I answered that question. So I think for those who have more questions that we might not be able to answer on the call, all you need to do is secure the discount, ensure that you have made payment to secure the discount, and fill the form and select, I need to speak with a professional. I showed you how to do that. I need to speak with a professional. Once you have done that, on Tuesday, we have 2 sessions, one in the afternoon at 2 p.m. West African time, and one in the evening at 11 p.m. West African time. And we schedule a session with you to have a one-on-one, all right, where we help you navigate how to select. For those of you that would find it a bit difficult selecting a specific career path, all right. And before I wrap up today, I want to show you something very quickly. And if Ifemena will just give us a closing remark. Okay, how do you apply to a job? and select the most recent job. Okay, I'll show you that very quickly because I said I was going to mention it. I want to apply to a data analyst role, but I don't want to go on LinkedIn directly and search. I want to apply for a data analyst role, and I want to apply to the role that was posted 24 hours ago because I stand a chance of competing with fewer people because the role is very new. All I need to do is go to my chart or go to my Google and I type sites. Okay, I type sites, not sites. I type sites with a semicolon. All right, LinkedIn. I type linkedin.com/jobs. Okay, so sites, semicolon, linkedin.com/jobs. And then I type in the job. I want to apply to a data analyst role. I open a quote, I type data, close the quotes, and analyst, right in between inverted commas. So these are some of the tricks, just like Dr. Uzoma also mentioned. So I want to search for a data analyst job. I can also specify if I want it remote in the US, in the UK, and so on. But we're not going to go into that because I'm just going to show you this for 2 minutes, okay? Site, semicolon, linkedin.com/jobs, data and analyst, hit enter. It shows you different roles, all right? But what you now want to do is go to where you have tools. Go to where you have tools, click on tools, go to anytime, click on anytime, and you can select the past hour, the past 24 hours, past week, past month. So if I select past hour, there's any job, there's no job that's been posted in the past hour, so I don't see any results. I go back here and I select past 24 hours, and I can see jobs that were posted in the last 24 hours, okay? So all I'll need to do is click on any of these links, and it takes me into the job on LinkedIn. So what I've done is just to search for the I would say the most recent job. And usually with this type of roles, you have the opportunity to compete for fewer people, to compete with fewer people eventually. So this was posted 4 hours ago. I'm going to check this out and be the first in. So sometimes organizations use first in, first out. First in, first out. So the first people that apply are the first that get called for interviews. And here you can see just 19 applicants for this job. Why? Because it was posted 4 hours ago. I want to get this job as a data analyst in the UK. All I'm going to do is start tailoring my CV. Within the next 1 hour, I put in my application. Okay? And one thing you don't want to do on LinkedIn is do the easy apply. Don't do easy apply. Okay? So this is a technique, a strategy you can deploy to get jobs that were posted recently, also using LinkedIn, in addition to Dr. Uzoma, what she recommended. Go on LinkedIn, type in hiring and the job role, and you get something out of that, okay? So I think I'll just stop here at this point in time. If you want to add 1 or 2 things before we wrap up for today.
I think I want to believe everyone has had a great time. If you've had a wonderful time today, coming from the start of the session when we had to talk, when we spoke with Dr. Uzube and Uzoma, okay? I'm very sure you guys have had a wonderful time, correct? If you have had a wonderful time, could you just drop a quick one in the chat? Let's see. Some people have had a wonderful time today. I have. I know, absolutely. I know I have. And I'm sure you have also. All right. So one thing that you need to have at the back of your mind is a lot of people are looking to transition to get into the new tech role, to get into the tech space. And they feel like it's overwhelming because of the number of information that's available out there. Some people are telling you you can do it by yourself. Some other people are telling you, you could try to do it, take out time to do it, one way or the other. Some people will tell you that it's impossible. You need to have a master's, you need to have this, you need to have that. All right. And that's the reason why we started Analytics, to see how we can help more Africans literally across the world, okay, transition into the tech space. And that's the key goal for us. How can we get more Africans into the tech space? So, all the things all the wonderful things that Daisy has spoken about. And that's the reason why we brought in those two, top-notch professionals also talk to you to share their own personal experience. Nobody really went to school to study business analysis, data analytics, data science. Nobody studied those things in school. All right. So how do these professionals, how did they get into their role? That's the reason why we're bringing these people to shed more light. Because if it's myself, if it's Adeza that is speaking to you, it's to look as if, oh, these are what these guys are doing. They have sweet mouths and all that. And these are professionals. These are ladies that, moved to a new country and they thought out steps. They looked at steps. They took out steps, okay, in order for them to transition, in order for them to get the job. Was certificate important? They answered those questions. Was advanced degree important? They also answered those questions. So now the key question you need to ask yourself, what are you waiting for? That's the key question you need to ask yourself. What are you waiting for? What is that doubt? What is that thing that is still holding you back? All right. And they kept hammering on something. All right. That's the two ladies that spoke today. They kept hammering that if you see limitations, you will get limitation. If you think that you don't have Canada work experience, US experience, or UK experience in order for you to get a job, you won't get a job because of that simple limitation. Now, and that's the reason why we're here, to hold you, to guide you. And that's why we have, we've had such a wonderful success story coming from that had no background. Like when I say no background, people that were housewives, okay, people that were working as bakers, people that were working as, entrepreneurs that were selling clothes on Instagram, selling, hair on, on Instagram, TikTok and all that, to getting their first job in the tech space. Now, the key question you would ask yourself is, how did these people achieve this? How were they able to achieve it? And, if it's all talk without evidence, you would know that we are bluffing. But you see, and I want you guys to take out time, be meticulous with whatever you're doing. Go out there, go on our YouTube, go on our Instagram. You will see the ton of testimonials, people getting these jobs. Now, please, if there is any form of, if there's any iota of doubt within your mind to say that, oh, will I be able to get it? Am I sure I will be able to get it? So you see, don't use that 5% doubt to hinder the course of your career, okay? Because, we had a testimonial from one of the ladies that got a job in Edmonton, in Canada, all right? And guess what? A friend recommended her. Okay, yes, this is Abigail. A friend recommended her for Analytics, okay? Told her, Abigail, attend the training. I attended this masterclass and I feel like this masterclass, these guys are doing a great job. Take a look at the masterclass. It was a recording of this kind of session. And, Abigail saw this, went through the masterclass recording and registered, okay, for the business analysis training program. And guess what? He got a job. Okay, she currently works with the government of Canada, all right, based off in Edmonton. And that's where she works. Now, the friend has not gotten a job. The friend is still trying to make a decision while Abigail has gotten a job. And that's the same thing with a ton of other people. I can go on with different experiences. Guys in the UK, guys in Canada, guys in the US, literally across the world, people across the world, people in Norway, Germany, and across the world essentially. So one thing you need to have at the back of your mind is, if you see limitations, really there's nothing much we can do for you. And that's the reason why we have this kind of session, to shed more light, to give you more awareness that, guys, these things will happen. All right. And that's why we have this platform to ensure that that particular thing, that job that you're looking for, we get it for you. Literally, this is a springboard. This is a platform for you to leverage in getting your role in the tech space. So when people talk about tech money, tech this, tech that, oh, I transitioned into tech, I did this, that's what we're trying to do. All right. And you see all the robust services. It's not just the skills. It's not just you learning Python. It's not just you learning data analytics. It's not just you learning Jira. It's also talking about how you sell yourself, having a good CV, having a good mentor. All these things are what we have infused together to ensure you get the best value for your money. All right, then thereafter, you get in the job that you so much desire. All right. So, guys, this is just a wake-up call, okay? And if you want to be part of the first 20 people to register for the main training program, please take the opportunity now. All right. Take that, secure your space, okay? Get started. Tell your own story. Have your own story. Be the one to create your own story for yourself. All right, and tell people that, oh, do you know what? All right, this misconception about I'm old, I'm too old to transition. This misconception about having after having a certification. I'm telling you that all those things don't matter. Okay, and those are the things that the guys resounded today during our conversation. So if you're looking to get in started, please register now. Don't think, don't overthink, don't overanalyze the situation. Will I get a job? I don't know if the money will be worth it. I don't know if it will be this. I don't know. You can see the ton of testimonials to back up, our goodwill, okay, and the things that we are doing currently in the industry. So, guys, register now. Don't waste time, okay? Time waits for nobody. Don't waste time. We have people in the February cohort that wanted to join, and guess what? They couldn't join because they wanted to join, they wanted to take advantage of the discount, but they waited to the last minute, but the discount slot had, elapsed. So they had to pay the full amount. All right, they have to pay the full amount. Don't be that particular professional. Don't be that person. Okay, take advantage of the discount now. Register, and let's see how we can get started. Let's drive you home. Let's drive you to your first sector. All right, that's all I have to say. Thank you very much, guys, and thank you very much. Looking forward to seeing every single one of you in the class. Okay, so on that note, if you've enjoyed yourself so far, and bear in mind that if you have further questions on Tuesday, all right, we're going to be having clarity session, just to resound it again. We're going to be having clarity sessions. So if you have any concerns, any questions, any other follow-up questions that maybe you thought about it and you've not asked, or you want to, you probably think about it during the course of the week and you want to get that question get answered. All right. We have a clarity session on Tuesday. Just, when we send out the recording, you will get an email for you to register for the clarity session, so you could have a more personalized discussion to how you can also transition into the tech space. So I'm currently a carpenter. How can I become a data engineer? Okay. Or I'm currently a organizer. How can I become a business analyst? That's all right. That's where we have those tailored conversation to get you started, all right, into the tech space. All right. Thank you very much, guys, and looking forward to seeing every one of you register and fully onboarded into the training program. Thank you very much, and have a wonderful, wonderful evening, guys. Take care, everyone.
All right. Take care, everyone. Follow us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter, on Facebook, subscribe on our YouTube channel to see the amazing work we are doing. Have a wonderful, fantastic weekend.
Bye, everyone. If you had a wonderful time, say yeah before you go. Let's see. Yeah. Let me see if guys
Yeah, good night.
Good night. Yeah. Let's go. All right, guys. Have a good night, everyone. Bye, everyone.